Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here. It's Monday morning, and we're doing Monday Moment. And it just happens to be Dennis's birthday today, too, guys. So happy birthday to Dennis Schroder. Dennis is turning, how old is he today? He's turning 32 today. So happy 32nd birthday, Eurobasket 2025 MVP. Isn't that awesome? It's kind of awesome. His birthday is today. Good job, Dennis Schroder and Germany winning Eurobasket 2025 yesterday over Turkey and Alperen Sengun. It was this is the thing. I'm going to say this. And Serbia's coach said this a couple of rounds ago when Germany put Serbia out. That it's Germany didn't put them out, but somebody put them out. But Serbian coach said that they thought Germany is the best team at Eurobasket. And I'll just say why. Because they hit the bullseye right in the middle of what you need to be a good FIBA team. They hit the bullseye right in the middle. They're the right in the middle of, all right, you've got on one side, you've got the USA and Canada type teams that are extremely talented, that are like all-star teams in some ways. And they're teams that are not usually gelling for long periods of time because they're in flux. And the personnel changes almost every single period. Now, a lot of the European teams and other teams around the world have a group that they keep together, a cohort. And, when you have the cohort process with the talent process melded in the middle, where you've got a handful of NBA players that are very good, like Dennis, Franz Wagner, Daniel Tice, Isaac Bonga, and then you have the continuity of the cohort staying together, like Germany has kept these guys together. That's a big part of their success, is that those guys on that team have been playing together for a long time, and they've been gelling, and they have second nature with each other because they know each other's tendencies. And they also trust and like really have a good team work with each other because they built it up. And that continuity of having the same cohort of the same players playing for the national team has benefited Germany, along with the fact that they have a very talented pool to grab some NBA players that are coming up and getting better. So, boom, that's like the perfect spot of having a good talent pool with Franz Wagner, his brother, and the other guys, German guys that play for the team that are NBA guys like Dennis. And then you've got the collective like showing up and really put in the work as a team and staying together over the years. They could have whatchamacallit, that one guy, but they don't want him that plays for Maxi Kleber. They don't want him because he's flaky. He doesn't want to show up for stuff. They could have another NBA player on Team Germany if they wanted to, but he's been flaky. So they're like, yeah, no, we don't need you to be here. We don't want this flaky energy. That's what I'm saying. In some ways, if Kleber can't play for Germany because he's flaky, maybe there's other teams should be like that, like USA or Canada. Like, yeah, you're being flaky. Sorry, you can't play for us. I don't care about the US and what they decide, but with Canada, maybe we should be like that towards players that aren't totally, fully, wholeheartedly committed to representing Canada correctly and making a commitment to staying on the team and coming every single time and doing what they need to do to help the Canada program. I think that's a huge reason why Germany won, is because they hit that sweet spot between talent and continuity. And, Canada, you don't want any half-assing, right? So if there is a very talented Canadian player that is very good, but he's not really coming correctly with the energy or how he feels about doing it, the commitment, don't bring them. We have such a good talent pool now that we can be choosy. And we need to kind of pick the guys that really want it, the guys who really want to be there, the guys who are going to go all out like Germany's team just did for Germany. So there's lessons in this Eurobasket 2025. There's lessons. The lessons are, can you find that sweet spot like Germany? And can you also recognize that there are secondary European nations in basketball that are on the rise, and they're coming to take spots from the old guard of Spain, France, Lithuania, Serbia. Those teams got put out, and new teams arose to the final. And well, Germany's been doing pretty good the last couple of years, and Turkey just arriving on the scene all of a sudden. We saw great gains from our backup center Sandro Mamu and the Georgia team in this Eurobasket. More success than they've ever seen in this tournament. And that, I mean, these are signs of more equalization and more talent coming from everywhere. That, you know, these countries are coming up. You know, at some point we're going to see Austria grow more with Jakob Pertl and the Austrian team. We'll see. Limit your expectations, but you know they should get better. You know, because maybe there'll be more basketball playing in Austria, and then all of a sudden they'll be not as Germany, but they'll be coming to compete a bit better, right? So yeah, that's just how it is. I'm looking at the top 10 in the FIBA rankings for the world right now, and this has not been updated. This will be updated after everything that happens in this Eurobasket and all the other FIBA tournaments, as far as AmeriCup and you know, Asia and stuff like that, AfroBasket. Well, USA is still number one, of course. Serbia is number two, but to be honest, I don't see Serbia as the second team after losing the way they did in Eurobasket. They should fall some spots in the top 10 in the world. Germany is number three right here. I could easily see Germany jumping into number two with this Eurobasket win behind USA, and Serbia losing their spot there. That, yeah, I could see that. France maybe needs to fall a couple spots too. I know that they were the silver medal at the Olympics, but they did not look good at this Eurobasket, and maybe they need to fall a couple spots. Spain also very much not the same team they used to be. They need to fall a couple spots in from fourth, or no, from fifth, and then us. We're sixth. I think we should move up one or two. Like if I see France or Spain or Serbia falling down, Canada needs to jump up maybe a spot or two over those two teams. Two of those three teams. Maybe France stays up there. Serbia and Spain fall below Canada, because in some ways Canada's coming seriously. I know that they played US for the third place game at AmeriCup, and Argentina and Brazil did better. And Argentina's in the top 10. They're going to probably jump up a spot, and Brazil's going to jump into the top 10, I'll bet, too. I can see Lithuania and Latvia falling out of the top 10. Slovenia, you should fall down a little bit. Australia's fine where it is because it's still like the Asia Oceania champion over there. So, yeah, I'm hoping Canada can move up a spot or two, and the new FIBA rankings are going to come out soon after all this dust is settled on the FIBA action this last month or so. So hopefully Canada can move up and be in the top 5, because we're number 6 in the world, technically, by FIBA world rankings in men's basketball. But I can see us being in the top 5 in the next report coming out on who's where, what, and how. That's right. All right, let's check in with the chat. And good morning to everybody on this Dennis Schroder MVP birthday morning. That's right. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's right, Dennis. Let's go. Trevor J is saying this morning. We all work for a better tomorrow, but when tomorrow comes, instead of enjoying it, we again think of a better tomorrow. Let's have a better today. This is awesome. I like this word of wisdom. This is very existential and kind of like conceptual. You know, listen, the way you exist is up to you. If you want to exist in the future and always ahead, that's fine, but you're never going to be happy. If you want to exist with the memories and the things that happened to you before, and you're still dwelling in them and you can't get past them, that's not happy either. You got to stay in the now. The only moment that matters is right now. The present moment is the only thing that is real. So, I mean, I get it. You want to plan your life. You want to do things. You want to have goals. You want to have things that you do ahead of time and you kind of set up for you to go do. And that's fine. But I'm just saying, if you don't cherish the moment now, if you don't take the time to just breathe, maybe sit and say, I have gratitude for my situation in life. I have gratitude for my family. I have gratitude for my health. You know, you'll never be happy. You really do have to take present stock of things from time to time. Everybody should do it every day, honestly. So if you're getting too ahead of yourself and your head is in 6 months from now, a month from now, a couple of weeks from now, you got to stop. And you got to give yourself the pleasure of being in the present. That is it right there. Thank you, Trevor J, for your words of wisdom. I appreciate them every single day. The Commissioner Fund coming in with some good insight and interesting concepts to think about here. Trevor J saying WNBA playoff, Minnesota beat the Valkyries. We knew that Lynx would be let out of the cage and tear up that poor young Valkyrie warrior. We saw it yesterday at the Varsity Stadium with the Raptor in the real mascot matchup. Yeah, it wasn't pretty either. I think that game was like a 30-point win for the Lynx. And the Valkyrie players are whining and crying afterwards. I don't understand that. Why are you whining and crying? You just got here. And in some ways, that team kicked some major ass this year in Minnesota. Don't get blaming the refs. Like, there was a player after the game for the Valkyries saying the refs need to treat us equally. Man, don't do that. Don't do that in this situation. You're the new team. You're the expansion team. The Lynx have many championships. And in some ways, their record and the way they play, they deserve to get the calls to a certain extent. But all your whining and crying don't look good. Seriously, y'all got your ass beat. Let's just put it that way. Y'all got your ass beat, and you go ahead and make some excuses. Now, I did not realize that Caitlin Clark is not healthy and is not playing for Indiana Fever. When I made my prediction that the lady would break the Fever and not go towards the Dream, I was wrong. The Atlanta Dream did win their first game of the playoffs yesterday. The Fever are without Clark, and Kelsey and Boston were not enough to take the game over and win that one for Indiana Fever. So Atlanta gets the first game of this series at home. And yeah, they have a very talented team, the Dream. They have a lot of players that are stepping up and doing some good stuff right now. So I'm going to have to amend this now that I know that Caitlin Clark is not playing right now. Indiana's in trouble. Indiana's in trouble, and Atlanta's actually really good. Let's see. What else? Liberty beat Phoenix. Yeah, I knew that would happen. There's maybe a little bit of problem with Breanna Stewart. She hit the floor hard last night, and she might have hurt herself. We'll have to see what happens with that. But yeah, Liberty winning their game pretty easy there. And Vegas did beat Seattle last night. Okay, I didn't stay up to see the end of that game. I did pick the Aces to beat the Storm last night. And, well, that's what happened. And Jewel Lloyd apparently says there's no issues with the Storm. There's all water than a bridge. But come on now. You played there for years and years and years. And this is only not even a year since you left there. In some ways, you can say that publicly, but I know deep inside there are feelings still. Come on now. Don't kid yourself, Jewel. Don't kid yourself. So, yeah, good job to the teams that won yesterday in the WNBA playoffs. You know, it's their 3-game series in the first round. So the first game is really important because if you want to win the series now, teams that lost yesterday, you have to win the next 2 to get through. And that means winning 1 on your court and 1 on the other court. That's right. That's right. Boom goes the dynamite. Let's go. Trevor J saying congratulations to birthday boy Dennis Schroder, champion gold medal winner and MVP winner. That's right. Dennis's accolades stack. They stack. And, this is the thing. You can make a case for Franz Wagner to win MVP in these situations. In some ways, Franz might be a little annoyed with Dennis because in some ways, Dennis is kind of overshadowing Franz in some ways. Because, see, Franz is the young guy. Dennis is the vet. But I'm going to say this right now. They understand who the most valuable player on Germany is when they give the vote award to them. That's what it's called, most valuable player. It's not necessarily your best scorer. It's not necessarily your young hotshot star for your country that's coming up. No, it's your most valuable player. And that means the guy who keeps it all together, leads you, and is the guy who you need to kind of organize everything. I mean, that's a big part of it. As I was saying earlier, that they're in the sweet spot of continuity and talent in FIBA world. They're also very lucky to have a leader from the NBA like Dennis Schroder that is very giving and selfless. And he's also knows when to go and take his too. Because one of the things Dennis did last night in the game against Turkey was he took over the game at the end of the game and scored 6 straight points to help them close it out. So Dennis stepped up not only as a leader throughout the whole tournament and leading his team to victories every single time, but also he stepped up when it really counted in crunch time in the final gold medal game for Eurobasket 2025. He scored 6 points in the last couple minutes in clutch time to take them home. So it's like, listen, most valuable player. He's the point guard. He's the leader. He's the captain. Franz, your time will come. But in some ways, it's Dennis's time right now. And that's why he's got an MVP of Eurobasket, and he's got an MVP of World Cup too. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's awesome, man. Congratulations to him. James is here. Good morning, Raptor Freak James. How are you doing this morning on a Monday? He's saying, Lex, why do you think Dennis bounces from NBA team to team? It's a weird thing. I mean, Dennis is an interesting guy because this is the thing about Dennis, and I studied him because we did a Share Love Club for him, and I think we've even done trivia on him already too. Dennis was not a basketball player growing up. He was a soccer player. He was also a skateboarder. And those were the two things that he really did the most in Germany was he played soccer and he also was a skateboarder. But at some point he realized he had a natural talent for basketball. He switched over. And that's the thing. Like a lot of players that don't do basketball young, they have a different kind of progression in their career and how they get better. Siakam's a great example. Siakam came to the game very, very late, and his progress as a player jumped exponentially because he didn't get all that jump when he was young. Do you understand what I'm saying? So Dennis is weird because he came in the NBA, an NBA level player, but very much on the fringe of being in the NBA. And he's been in the league for a long time. We have to remember this. Dennis Schroder has been in the NBA for like a long time. He's been in the league since 2013. And well, this is the thing. He started as a bench guy trying to make the team, and he's just progressed as a player because he's that kind of guy. He has DeRozan code. He's not sitting on his ass saying, I'm just this player and I'm always going to be this player going forward. No, he's going to get better because he's working hard and he's trying to improve himself in different ways so that he can be better. That's DeRozan code. A player that comes to the league and sits on his ass and just kind of coasts on their talent and never really tries to develop anything new or get better, that's a lot of players in the league. They're just earning checks and they don't give a shit about getting better. But if you have DeRozan code, you're improving all the time. And Dennis has just hit new levels with his DeRozan code. And one of the things is that Dennis is in the period of his NBA career where he's a journeyman. He's very savvy. He's very knowledgeable. He's a veteran. And he's got old vet knowledge up here. And this is the thing. Unlike Russell Westbrook, who had to rely on us athleticism, who didn't pivot into the mental side of the game. And that's part of the reason why Russell's kind of looking on the outside, looking in the NBA right now. Dennis really did do the Kyle Lowry work too, which is like, I'm going to be more savvy and smart as I play, as I get older, so that I can continue to play and have longevity. Because that's the thing. When you get older and you're in your 30s in the NBA, you're not going to be as fast as some guys because faster guys will come in. They're younger. So you have to be smarter than them. You have to be knowledgeable and understanding what to do in the right times. And Dennis is like that, maybe when he was younger, he had folly. He made mistakes. Maybe he was brash. Maybe he was outspoken. Maybe he rubbed people the wrong way. We know in some ways he's like me. He has no filter. He's going to speak his mind and he's going to say how he feels about something. We've heard that very recently with his comments about Dirk Nowitzki and Germany and himself. In some ways, he may have gotten in his own way with other teams, partly because he's so outspoken and he has a certain level of excellence that he wants to be operating in personally. And when he has teammates around him that don't look at it that way, maybe they're teammates that don't have DeRozan code, aren't doing things the correct way. He will be annoying to them, or he may be a problem for teams because he'll call them out. He holds people accountable. And some teams didn't ask a young player from Germany to do that. And they're like, nah, we don't want you to police whether guys are doing this right. Sorry, you got to leave. And they'll trade him. That's part of why right there. I'm pretty sure that's why. Is because Dennis is a natural leader. And a lot of these NBA teams that he was on when he was younger did not accept him as a natural leader. And they rejected him as a natural leader. Maybe even the Raptors did when we moved him. We rejected him as a natural leader for our team. So it's just like, that's it, I think, James, is that, and he's gotten better and better as he's gone on. A testament to him that he didn't get bounced out of the league at some point. That stuff that happened with the Lakers and his contract, that could have easily been right around the end of his NBA career. But you got to give him credit for being a survivor and persisting and still being in this league right now. So Dennis is a really, really good person, man. And I just really appreciate him and who he is. James is saying he looks like a starting caliber point guard to me. Well, God willing, he'll be starting this year. I mean, who is he on this year? Who's his team this year? Where is he playing right now? It says that he's playing for the Kings. So he's going to be there with DeMar. And I don't know who's going to start point guard there. I mean, who's the best point guard for the Kings right now? I mean, De'Aaron's gone. Who's the point guard for the Kings right now? Will Dennis Schroder start at point guard next to DeMar DeRozan this year? Maybe. That could be very interesting. That could be very, very, very interesting. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I hope he starts for Sacramento. I don't know who's the other guy there that would start over him. I can't really think about it, you know. I can't really think about it. Let's see. James is saying he hit a clutch shot for Germany. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It is a combination of that's what's great about Dennis is all right, for most of the game, he can be the point guard and the leader and distribute and get other people involved. He'll get Franz going. He'll get Daniel some extra baskets. He'll get Thyman something. He'll hit Obst in the corner for a three. And then he's mixing his own stuff in. And one of the things that Dennis does a really good job is deciding when to call his own number and when to look for his teammates. He's very, very good at making the right decisions in those choices. And well, when the time comes, though, he wants to take control and do it himself. And he does. And he's usually successful. That's the interesting thing. You know, he's very measured and very smart. In some ways, he's not taking really crazy low probability shots to try and win the game. No, he's measured. He's going to go into the lane and he's going to take a little mid range that he feels very comfortable making like 80% of the time. So he makes his shot selection way better so that he's actually like really easy to be successful because he's set himself up for success because he gets to the spots on the floor where he knows he's money and he's able to get to those spots and clutch. And that's a powerful thing to have in basketball when you can get those kind of opportunities for yourself. Now in the NBA, this may be the difference between FIBA and the NBA. James is right here. In the NBA, it's harder for him to get those shots because individuals are better skilled and bigger players. In FIBA, sure, it may be easier for him to get those clutch shots. And that may be part of the difference why we see a more clutch Dennis Schroder in FIBA action over NBA action. Because the NBA players are bigger, longer, and faster, and they may recover faster. And that clutch stuff is not as easy for him to go get. So there's a lot of interesting stuff about Dennis. Mo's here. Good morning to superfan Monique Lawrence, the greatest. We love Mo. Good morning, Raptor Free crew. Congratulations, Dennis Schroder. That's right. Happy birthday, Dennis Schroder. Happy birthday, MVP. Happy birthday. Now they will see that you're not no fluke and you can really juke on the court and win the game. Yeah, happy birthday, Dennis. Yeah, yeah. Woo! I don't want to get copyright infringement by singing the actual happy birthday song. So I make up my impromptu, improvised song there, right there. That's right. Most saying another successful 905 coaches open house clinic. Yeah, yesterday the Andrew Jones and Serrano and Leftwich and the other 905 coaches were there doing the 905 coaches clinic yesterday. And yeah, I don't know about the turnout. It looked, but either way, you know, they did what they do and they appreciated the people who came. And, you know, hopefully some people learned some stuff while they were there. I mean, I guess I'll go do the Instagram stories since you brought this up because I guess it's kind of there. Elijah Martin's with his dog in the yard. His dog has a very big head. Let's just put it that way. And then he's got some song playing. I believe it's who is that song? I don't know. Y'all been asking for that play of love, but me and brother Elijah Martin finna come different. Go run up our desires before we drop. Okay, so there's some clothing gear that they're going to be wearing. I'm not totally sure what's going on there. Elijah, you got something you want to promote. Well, I'll figure it out. Kyle Lowry's got a clip of his son Carter on the court, and he's looking a lot more grown up, and he's showing off some fancy dribbles. In fact, when I saw this clip earlier, I thought it was actually Kyle because he's got a lot of the same body motions and movements. And I'm like, well, wait, that's too small to be Kyle. That's his son. That's Carter King. So check out, if you want to see Kyle Lowry's son and where he's at with his basketball, go check out Kyle Lowry's Instagram stories. Jerome Williams was in New York, and he's all crazy with the Knicks jersey and being goofy, and they're having like a street tournament. And I think his son was out there, the dog. The dog was out there too, playing Jeremiah. So yeah, they had some street hoops in New York City with this the JYD. Of course, he's Knicks Nation along with Raptors Nation. He's going to show up for them too. And yeah, he was outside putting in work. There you go, Jeremiah. SGA's on the move with the butter shoe. All you see is camouflage pants and a butter shoe. That's all you see. Lloyd, why not Lloyd? Scotty's friend is taking pictures of the skyline. That looks like that's New York City. So Lloyd is in New York City. Where in the world is Serge Ibaka, guys? Where in the world is Serge Ibaka? Oh, I'll tell you where he is. He's in Puerto Rico, guys. That's right. Serge is in Puerto Rico with Bad Bunny. No lie. Recently, Bad Bunny announced that he will not be touring the U.S. anytime soon because of ICE and MAGA and the bullshit. And he's in Puerto Rico doing shows, and Serge is there with him on stage. So Serge Ibaka getting on stage with Bad Bunny and being in his entourage while Bad Bunny's doing what he does, man. So that's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool that Serge is there with Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico doing a huge show. And this man is not coming to the U.S. So if you like Bad Bunny, he's not coming to see y'all because that country is just out of control, man. But Serge is with Bad Bunny, and it's pretty cool to see. Isaac Bonga celebrating the German champions of himself and Dennis and Franz and everybody. Fantastic stuff, Germany. Good job winning Eurobasket 2025. Good job, Dennis. Yeah, and there they are, him and Dennis doing the thing over their face. They were doing this when they make shots. Let's see what else. We got Slim Duck. He's got some little kid punching a punching bag. He's crazy. Chris Boucher's got some kid punching a punching bag. I guess Chris is working now, working hard. There's a Flintstone vitamin or something. I don't know. I might have to stop following Chris. There he is in the green headband. Wow, that's going to be really tough to get used to. I'm telling you right now. Seeing Chris in a green headband is really tough to get used to in some ways. But he's playing Jay Giles band on his Instagram stories. So he's got the 80s throwback there. Jamal McClure was at the Toronto Revelers dinner, the big, huge party that they had, the banquet. And he was, of course, one of the main speakers up on stage, talking to everybody, doing the Toronto Revelers get together. Everybody got dressed up fancy and ate some good food in a huge room. And they danced and they sang and had a good time. And that's awesome. I love to see that. Good season of Toronto Revelers this year with the parade and everything. That's awesome. Savannah Hamilton and her friends were doing goofy TikToks where they jumped through the airport into paradise in a swimming pool, and they're so happy to be on vacation. It's a goofy thing. I know when people do these cuts and edits where they film one thing one place and then they put it together, that's a lot of production work there to me. Savannah also putting on blast the WNBA playoffs yesterday starting up. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. And they're also opining on Angel Reese, throwing her teammates on the bus on the latest Cinderella Stories podcast. So y'all check out Savannah Hamilton, Ashley Docking, Cinderella Stories podcast. Fantastic podcast on women's sports. And they cover in all the women's sports on that channel. That's really good podcast. Really good podcast. Jamal Shed has found an article that was posted by GTV Hoops. And the article is basically they've discovered that Jamal Shed, 6'1", Jamal Shed has ridiculous speed and athleticism. That's true. I mean, we've seen the man push the ball up the court very fast in his rookie year with the Raptors. We've seen the man elevate very high and dunk the ball at times too. As far as that's stuff that Freddie didn't do. So Shed VanVleet's got a little bit more athleticism than Fred VanVleet. And that may be part of the reason why Shed VanVleet was actually a draft pick and Fred VanVleet wasn't. So, yeah, Shed VanVleet, in some ways, we could think about this and say this man has a trajectory that may be a little higher than Fred's in some ways, partly because of his extra athletic ability. Because Fred can't jump like Shed. And in some ways, I mean, Fred's pretty fast, but Sheddy might be faster than Freddie. Let's just put it that way. I feel like I'm talking about a great Canadian cereal called Shreddies. We got Freddie and Shreddy, and they're the Shreddies. I don't know. Freddie and Sheddy, and they're the Shreddies. I don't know. Norman Powell out on the town with his lady, and sometimes he's showing Bella. He's showing Bella sometimes these days. I've been noticing that. That's them at the fight on the outside with the marquee behind them. They did actually physically go to the big fight on Saturday night and saw it in person at the arena. So Norman and Bella, night on the town, seeing some boxing on Saturday night. So yeah, and there's Norman playing against Sky. Just messing around. Sky, I guess, is somebody's child or something. Sky. Let's see. Jacoby is wiping the sweat because he's working hard. He's putting in that work. The MLSE Launchpad event the other day was very successful. And Jacoby, short-haired Jacoby, we're ready to see you, sophomore short-haired Jacoby, on the court on the NBA this year. That's right. I'm ready for that. Toronto Tempo still wrapping up the weekend yesterday for Montreal. And coming to that city and promoting their WNBA team coming into the league. The brass of Toronto Temple was full effect over there. They had the Mathurin family was involved with Toronto Tempo this weekend. All kinds of good stuff going on with Tempo and Montreal this weekend. Hopefully they reached out to a lot of people and got some more interest and getting them ready for the first year of the WNBA Toronto Tempo. That'd be awesome. Steve Nash is out. Who is he with? Who's in that picture with him? That looks like Dirk Nowitzki, and that's whatchamacallit right there. That's the coach. I forget his name. But yeah, Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash hanging out when they're with their loved ones. Interesting. I know Steve and Dirk are going to be part of the Amazon coverage of the NBA this year. They're going to be both involved in that. Let's see. There's Coach Andrew Jones at the coaches clinic yesterday that Monique brought up. Dappin Justin Serrano coming in and giving direction to different people. I see that his son was there with him, and there's the coaches there. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Listen, there wasn't a very good notice on these coaches stuff, man. The things that they're doing with the Raptors this week, it's kind of shady to me, man. Normally, y'all would give us like a couple months notice on these events. And why did you guys schedule them so suddenly and not give anybody a chance to kind of get things together? Because they're doing this with the Raptors open house this week. Coaches open house. It's Wednesday. It's in 2 days. And they just told us about it last Friday. So it's kind of messed up. And this coaches clinic was really sprung on us too. I hope this isn't anything to do with Keith Pelly and MLSE's influence and trying to hurt people from coming to do basketball events by short changing us on how much time we have to lead into them. Seriously, because I don't know if anybody knew about the coaches clinic yesterday with 905 because it was barely advertised in the last couple weeks. And also it was not announced that long ago. So I don't know what's going on with that. I'm going to be fishy and thinking and looking through all this. And if MLSE is listening to me, if you did that shit on purpose, I'm on to you. But if it was just because you're trying to rush things in before the season with the coaches stuff, okay. I mean, I don't totally understand it. In some ways, it's like, you want to give people the time to be able to get the stuff. That's what I'm saying. So let's keep going with it. Yeah, there he is with his son out fishing. I guess they were out fishing on the dock. Coach Andrew Jones. So yeah, good times fishing on the dock. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. The Jonathan Mobo has been very religious since Charlie Kirk was murdered. And he's been posting a lot of religious stuff. He was posting Charlie Kirk stuff. And he said, and God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And he said, and the Lord said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. See, this is interesting because this is sounding like the really kind of like fire and brimstone Bible parts. Like this is sounding like the parts that are kind of like very wrath and very kind of in some ways, look, the fear of God to people, some people is important. Sure. The fear of God to some people is important. To some people, it's like you use it as a tool to like manipulate and make people conform the fear of God. Now, the one thing I'm worried about here is that Mobo is like AJ Griffin. Yeah. We know what just happened with AJ Griffin and his NBA career. And he thinks that it's the apocalypse and that the world's going to have a cataclysm and that the world's going to end. So he retired early. Adrian Griffin Jr. You guys know that, right? That he walked away from his NBA career because he thinks the world is going to end and that rapture is imminent and that he doesn't want to waste his last couple years before the rapture on earth, playing the NBA and stuff. So he's not wasting his time. I really, really hope that Jonathan Mobo is not in the same mindset as AJ Griffin, because that's troublesome, man. Listen, religion is good, Jonathan, but don't get into this crazy, wrathful Old Testament shit. Seriously, because in some ways that kind of stuff is used to manipulate young minds like yours. And you can do all the Christ work in the right way, the positive way. But when you get into vindictive wrath kind of passages like what you posted on Instagram, that's showing me that in some ways you're not looking at religion in the right way in some ways. And I may be not the person to tell you that. You're right. But maybe there is something that I say this that you may need to look at. Because in some ways, the people that are using the wrathful side of God and Jesus and Christianity right now are using it to justify barbarism and evil and antichrist behavior. So be careful where you're going right now, Mobo, because those that say that they are Christ are not in this world right now. And if you're falling in with the Kirk people, realize that these are people that are not Christ-like, and they are only using it as a garb, like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Just so you know, I have to be very, very explicit about this because I care about Jonathan, I care about Scotty, and I care about them being young men that have, I know that the love of God and Christianity is important to these guys, and I want to make sure that the religion inside them is for the right reasons. That's what I'm saying. It's for the right reasons. Seriously. Yeah. So Toronto Tempo had a big talk yesterday. Very, very cool. Siakam's got a new segment every single Sunday now. He's coming out. Do you know this banger? Who knows this banger? So it's like he's playing his favorite songs on Sunday and dancing to them. He wants to know how many people know that song. So it's like Siakam has a new segment. It's the Sunday, do you know this banger segment? And I love it. I love it. I think it's so awesome. I think it's so awesome, Pascal. Keep doing your, do you know this banger segment? It's awesome. It's so joyous to me to see the jubilation of Siakam and how happy he is in life right now. Chucky Hepburn has got the fight from the other night and the guy holding all the belts. So there you go. Chucky Hepburn was into the boxing this weekend. So there's your Raptors Instagram stories. Coach's Clinic for 905. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. I'm just reading between the lines. If there's some sort of holding back because they're making us have these at the last minute, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this. That's right. Monique is saying this. Drake seemingly takes shot at DeMar in recently leaked song. Why again, Drake? All right. This is another thing. Monique with the cue cards that I got to go and look at right now. It's so stupid. All right. This is Raptors Reddit reactions. Let's go there. This is what I saw this morning. It's so stupid. This guy's an idiot. First of all, guys, I'm going to say this. Too comprehensive, 13, 12. Two-finger salute for you. You're a fucking idiot, bro. First of all, you're not a Raptors fan. You're a troll. Second of all, if you are a Raptors fan, get the fuck out. We don't want you, all right? Get the fuck out. You are not a Raptors fan. This is what this guy said. He's talking about Drake's new song, and he's saying Drake takes shots at ice-cold choking traitor DeMar DeRozan. First of all, anybody who's taken Drake over DeRozan in the battle of in Raptors Nation, you're an idiot. You should not be taking Drake. Drake is at fault. Drake is an idiot. DeMar is innocent. And Drake is the asshole. First of all, he's the asshole. All right. And any Drake fuckboys that think Drake is just perfect and doesn't do anything wrong, you're the guys who are wrong. Drake is wrong in this situation. Kendrick's wrong too. I'm not gonna lie. Kendrick is wrong too. But DeMar is innocent. In some ways, DeMar is innocent in this. DeMar went and did a video with his childhood friend, Kendrick Lamar, and that is not a big deal. Because in some ways, if you really look through at the message of the song, the message is important to be said by Kendrick Lamar. It's misinterpreted, yes, in a lot of different ways by a lot of different people. But the reasons why DeMar did the Not Like Us video is very, very simple. That he wanted to do a favor for a childhood friend. And in some ways, look, he's just in the video. He didn't write the song. So, what's up? So, yeah, this guy's writing this bullshit. We must have been dealing the spur of the moment because why, Kawhi, did we think you could get us a ring? Is that the lyric that Drake wrote right there? We must have been dealing with spur of the moment because why, Kawhi, did we think we could get us a ring? What is that bullshit? That is bullshit right there. Why are you calling out DeRozan? DeRozan don't need this. You don't need this, and you got nothing to do with it. Most of the people in this chat are saying is they're standing up for DeMar in the comments on Raptors Reddit, most of them, and saying, who the fuck is saying this and stuff like that. These guys are so stupid, man. Like this one guy saying, the guy who posted it saying they're bragging about how you went home. The fuck they on? Crody, we threw him away. He's talking about Kawhi. He thinks that man, this guy's so misinformed and such a fucking idiot. These are the kind of dumbass people in Raptors Nation that just piss me off because they're so misinformed. People that hate DeMar DeRozan or think DeMar DeRozan needs to be called DeFrozen or disrespect him like that, you guys are little shits that have not obviously watched the Raptors before 2018. You probably have not ever watched the whole climb and what he did for our team to put us where we are. You don't respect that. You don't give him credit for that? Well, fuck you. Two-finger salute to all the shitty-ass Raptors Nation people that disrespect DeMar DeRozan on the regular. Don't follow Drake on this shit because Drake is a turncoat. Seriously. Drake is a turncoat. Somebody on here called him a bandwagoner, and somebody say, no, he's been a fan of the team before they had the championship. Bullshit. This is the thing. It's not that he's a bandwagoner. He's a turncoat. That motherfucker will show up for LeBron in LA. That motherfucker will show up for Kevin in Phoenix and now Houston. That motherfucker will show up for Steph and Golden State. The dude is an NBA whore. He basically goes around to whatever team it makes him look better with his image at that time. If the Raptors are doing shitty, he'll ignore us and he'll go other places and show up at games in Miami and shit like that. He's a turncoat. In some ways, if Raptors fans are looking for leadership in Raptors Nation from Drake, you need to stop. Drake has done good things for the team as the ambassador, but in some ways, he's not a fan like me. He's not like us. Let's just put it that way. He's not like us. We are a different kind of fan than Drake. Drake is a sellout. Drake will go and kiss the ass of other teams when the Raptors aren't doing well. I'm not doing that. I'm Raptors 100% through and through, and that's the only team I'm rooting for like I do. Drake will get behind Kevin's team. Drake will get behind Steph's team. And that's the difference right there. That he's a turncoat. That's what we're trying to say here. And y'all getting on his side over DeMar's is wrong because DeMar was on our side and he still is, even though we did him wrong. So, yeah, it's stupid. Whatever Drake did in his song recently, just shut the fuck up, Aubrey. Seriously, I'm sick of your shit. I'm so sick of your shit. Open up this can of worms and this bullshit. Don't you understand DeMar has gone through a lot since we traded him to San Antonio? And that, you know, as much as he's stronger now and he's really good in a good place right now, you opening up cans of worms every once in a while with your dumbass songs, honestly, your talent is going downhill over and over time, you know? Seriously. Like, what the fuck, Drake? I want to like you. But when you go after one of our GOATs, maybe even the greatest Raptor of all time, I say, fuck you, man. Fuck you, Drake. Seriously, because now you got all your idiot fuckboy followers turning on DeMar DeRozan again on a Monday morning. Like, what the fuck is that, man? Seriously, just shut up, Aubrey. Just get over your fucking self. Make some music about, you know, girls again. And why you got to take shots at people. You know, when you take shots at people in your music, it gives away, it confesses that you're a shallow person that is low self-esteem. That's what it is, bro. If you feel the need to open this up over and over again every once in a while, that just shows that you're miserable on the inside and you have low self-esteem that you have to take shots fired on other people. That's what this is, bro. You just look bad. You just look immature when you do this. DeMar's above this. DeMar wrote a best-selling book last year. DeMar's healing himself. DeMar's doing work. Maybe you need to fucking heal yourself, Aubrey. Maybe that's what you need to do, bro. Maybe you need to listen to DeMar and see his journey and what he's done personally to become a better person, to become a man more and be a stronger person in his journey and fighting mental health and being sensitive and honest with himself. Drake, you might need to fucking get sensitive and honest with yourself to fix yourself from your fuckboy tendencies and your bullshit. Seriously. That may be the biggest problem with you, Drake, is that you need help like DeMar was brave enough to go get. But you fucking won't do it because you're an idiot, like Draymond. So anyway, that's what's going on there. Yeah, let's see. Are there anything else that's new on here? I don't think so. Somebody's asking, has anybody seen the specialty list for the Knights for this season? You know, not really. They haven't announced any special games or anything like that, Caribbean night or any of that. They haven't got the schedule for that yet. But I'm sure they'll come out with it soon. They'll come out soon. Somebody on Reddit is celebrating that Kyle Lowry's going into 20 years in the NBA this year. This will be his 20th year in the NBA this season, and it is kind of insane. He's on a graphic here with LeBron, who's on 23, Chris Paul, who's on 21, and then Kyle is third with 20 years in the league. Mike Conley, 19, Kevin Durant, 18 years in the league. That is wild. So Raptors Reddit, there's a mix of good and bad, mostly the idiot with the Drake stuff, whatever that is, right? Mo, this is stupid, man. You know, I asked Monique, have you lost a lot of respect for Drake in the last 2 years like I have? I can't believe this. I want to like Drake. I know that you've met Drake and Drake has been nice to you in the past, Mo, But at some point, like, look, if you saw Drake this year, what would you say to him? Leave DeMar alone. That's what I would say to him. I say, leave DeMar alone, man, because DeMar was our team for so long, and he was so good for us. And you're influencing knuckleheaded dumbasses in the Raptors nation to disrespect him, Drake. So just shut the fuck up. I'd say that to his face. I'd say, just shut the fuck up, Drake. And I don't know. Maybe a bodyguard punched me in the face. I don't know. Who cares? Either way, if I got a shot to tell Drake to shut the fuck up to his face, I would. I'd tell him that. If he's watching this, I said that to you. That's right. I did say that. Let's keep going. James is saying DeMar backstabbed him. If he keeps bringing it up, that's why I get what I get from this. It doesn't matter. Drake, you don't need to deal with this publicly. If he backstabbed you, deal with it privately. You don't need to fucking put this shit out here. DeMar DeRozan's not a hip hop star. DeMar DeRozan's not Kendrick Lamar. You guys can do your little fucking wannabe gangster bowing up to each other if you're in music. But DeMar is an athlete. He had not asked for any of this. He has nothing to do with this shit. DeMar did not stab Drake in the back. That sounds stupid as fuck. You know, listen, people are free to do what they want to do in this world, at least for right now, until fucking totalitarian bullshit seems like it's coming. You know, if DeMar wanted to be in a video with Kendrick Lamar, that's his right. And I'm not anti-Canadian for saying this, because the Not Like Us video is completely misinterpreted. And in some ways, you know, whatever that bullshit is, you know, between Kendrick and Drake, that's separate. In some ways, he wants to bring DeMar into it, and he thinks he backstabbed him because he was in that. You know, listen, motherfucker, he grew up with Kendrick in Compton. He's friends with you too. In some ways, this is kind of like that bullshit when you're getting a breakup or a divorce, and your ex is like, you can't be friends with this person anymore because that is my person, kind of bullshit, selfish kind of shit like that. You know, no, listen, DeMar is his own person. He has earned the right to do what he wants to do in his life. And honestly, after I heard his reasoning for why he was in the Not Like Us video, I was like, I'm cool. I'm good, because his message is positive and it's for love and connection. It's not an angry message. It's not a message that he hates someone. No, he did that because he's a friend of Kendrick and he likes him. In some ways, he may have been used as a pawn in some ways by Kendrick Lamar. Maybe that's maybe applicable. But the whole thing, and him saying he stabbed him in the back. What the fuck, Drake? You're a bitch. You're a little whiny bitch. Oh, you stabbed me in the back. Get over it. Move on. People stab people in the back. It must hurt you so bad that you got to write another lyric months and months later and keep this shit going. Maybe you see that your attention is not up enough. So I got to write a controversial lyric about DeMar DeRozan again because nobody's talking about me. You know, is that the bullshit that's going on right now, Aubrey? I mean, seriously, man, leave the GROAT alone. We love this man right here. This dude is good with Toronto and us. Just, you don't decide who's good with us, Drake. No, you don't have that power. You don't just say, oh, DeMar's out. He broke my heart. He made me cry, guys. DeMar made me cry because he sat in a video for Kendrick Lamar. He made me cry. So hate him, please, everybody. Please, little fuckboys that follow me, that think that I'm a god and think that I'm just amazing and listen to me and do everything that I tell them to do. Just hate him because he hurt my fragile little sensitive heart inside. So I had to write a dumbass lyric about him so all y'all are disrespect him again. Oh, boo-hoo, poor little Drake. Sad, sad, sad. Oh, I feel so bad for baby Drake. He got backstabbed. You know what? A man that got backstabbed was DeMar DeRozan. And how did he treat it? He acted like a man. He dealt with it on his own privately. He went through the depression on his own without making bitch-ass little songs to whine and cry about it publicly. He did this shit on his own like a man, and he became a better person for it. You need to go to therapy, Aubrey. That's what I have to fucking say right now. You need to go to fucking therapy is what you need to say right there. That's right. Cool Cat's saying, good morning, Raptor Freak Crew. Good morning to Coach Cool Cat. We had our birthday party yesterday, and I want to say happy birthday. I love you, Cool Cat, for being a part of the Raptor Freak channel for 4 years this year. You're definitely a special, very important Raptor Freak over the years. Really are. Yeah. Congratulations to Dennis, Euro MVP and another championship. Yeah. The accolades just keep coming to Dennis Schroder. Let's go to Dennis Schroder's horn on his birthday here real quick. I'm looking at his Wikipedia, And I see on his career highlights a FIBA World Cup MVP 2023, a FIBA Basketball World Cup All Tournament Team 2023, a FIBA Eurobasket MVP 2025, a FIBA Eurobasket All Tournament Team 2022, a FIBA Eurobasket All Tournament Team 2025, a FIBA Men's Olympic All-Star 5 2024. This guy's got MVPs and All-Stars in FIBA competition. And happy birthday, Dennis. Yeah, he's a good one, man. He's a good one. Shaq Lindsay's here. Good morning to Shaq Lindsay. Thank you for supporting this channel. We need to stop associating Drake with Toronto Raptors. Drake is for Drake. He only cares about his brand and uplifting it. OVO. Yeah, I'm with you on this. I mean, listen, I would listen to your music back in the day because you are an ambassador. And my cousin would be like, why are you listening to Drake? I mean, like, it's the Raptors, bro. And my cousin's like, his music's shit, though. I'm like, I kind of like it. Well, I don't think I like it anymore. I can't listen to Hotline Bling anymore and think that it's like, oh, this is a thumper. This is great. This is great. No, fuck all that anymore. I mean, I'm serious about this. I was okay with them because time had passed, but he wants to inflame this shit up once again. I think that Shaq Lindsay is exactly right. We got to start cutting ties. And if it's Jack Armstrong and Matt Devlin not inviting Drake onto the broadcast ever again because his bullshit saying he's going to go and take down a DeMar DeRozan retirement jersey banner if we put it up in the arena, yeah, I never want to hear Drake's ass on the Raptors broadcast ever again. That man is banned from that. Good. If he shows up on it this year and it was only a 1-year ban because there's that, well, I'll be like, come on, reconsider, Raptors. Because in some ways, he's a loose cannon. He's all for himself. He's going to say shit on the broadcast that is not good, like he did about DeMar that last time y'all let him on the air. So maybe you can't let him ever be on the air again. And maybe we should disassociate ourselves from him more and more. I don't think Ed Rogers will have a problem with this in some ways. I don't think he'd have a problem with this. And this may be an area where I might line up with Keith Pelly and Ed Rogers for once and saying, yeah, go ahead and disassociate Drake from the team. I think a lot of people might not be that upset about it at this point. The owl is, you know, what it's been for us. OVO has been what it is for us. If we got to disassociate from them and OVO is going to be with the Scarborough Shooting Stars instead, that's fine. That's fine. Because Drake, you shot yourself in the foot with your mouth, and you need to shut the fuck up, especially since you keep continuing with this shit. Seriously. Cool Cat saying the NBA doesn't have the request for Dennis's game, however. So he's not able to replicate that success in the NBA. The NBA doesn't have the request for Dennis. I'm trying to understand what that means. You know, Dennis is, you know, it's a different game, FIBA and NBA. NBA is very different. In some ways, it's a showy league. It's very reliant on talent. It's very reliant on high skill. And in some ways, FIBA is still more basic and fundamental and team-oriented. And Dennis thrives in team-oriented. That's the thing. And the NBA is kind of working better as a team-oriented league, especially this last year with the two teams in the final. But it really is coming from a league of big threes and superstars that can take over the game and do all this stuff. And it's not as team-oriented as FIBA. And in some ways, Dennis doesn't thrive in that kind of mindset and that kind of basketball like he does in the team-oriented FIBA. I think that's the biggest difference right there, is that, you know, it's a lot more, in some ways it's the more skilled, and it's also the more selfishness of the NBA it's not conducive in some ways with what Dennis does. So Mo's saying this, Dennis went from stop racism comment to winning again. Love it. Love it. That's right. That's a very strong, powerful message for everybody. An example of, look, people are going to be ugly. People are going to be racist. People are going to be evil. People are going to be doing fucked up shit, especially the U.S. government right now. But in the end, you know what? Pure talent and pure who you are. And if you see yourself through and you believe in yourself, you can still be the winner in the end. And I love that message, Mo. I love it so much. I'm going to give you a dunk for pointing that out. He went through a racist situation in Helsinki, and then he went on to become the MVP of the tournament. And that is fantastic. That's a great story right there. That's a great story. Monique, you're at 105 on the dunk charts. That's a very good, perceptive observation. Shaq Lindsay saying Dennis should be in the Hall of Fame. He should be in the German Basketball Hall of Fame for sure. I don't know if he should be in the NBA Hall of Fame, but maybe he's in the Basketball Hall of Fame for being a great FIBA player. Maybe. I mean, I think that what he's been doing lately internationally and bringing Germany up, but is the Hall of Fame more centric towards Americans and North America stuff? Would they honor? It may be that he's in the FIBA Hall of Fame and not in the Naismith Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. I could see them put him in the FIBA Hall of Fame because I think that's very apt for him. He should be maybe in the FIBA Hall of Fame. That's right. You could see him being a coach after basketball. Yeah, I could see that too. I could see that too. He has a lot to give to the game, to give back. Most saying 21 more days until the Raptors play basketball. That's when we play the Denver Nuggets in Vancouver. Nikola Jokic against the Raptors in preseason in Vancouver, Canada series. Woo-wee! 21 days, Dominique Wilkins. Let's go. Let's go. Cool Cat saying FIBA ball is very team-centered, physical ball. I love FIBA games. Yeah, and that's the ecosystem and atmosphere that Dennis has thrived in. That's right. Smooth's here. Good morning to you, Smooth Brown Man. Detroit seemed like the perfect spot for Dennis. Wonder why it didn't work out there. I think that, the turnover in Detroit this summer has been going younger, even more younger. I think that kind of like with us a couple of years ago, the Raptors decided between veteran leaders on our team, and that was between Thad Young and Garrett Temple. And at a certain point, they're like, well, we like the teaching style of this older vet being on this team. And right now, I think the older vet that's in charge on the Pistons is Tobias. Tobias Harris is kind of the guy that's kind of the grand poobah older player around that team that they're kind of taking the direction from. That last year they had Tim Hardaway Jr. also, remember, and they had him for a while, but they've let him go and they let Dennis go. So I think that what the Pistons were doing was they were kind of pruning off some of the older leaders on their team to open spots on their roster for younger people coming up, and allowing that age cohort of Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham and Beef Stew and all those guys. That's what matters. Thompson. I think that's what it is. It is something to say, like, he's moved so much. Does he wear out his welcome when he comes to places? That may be true on some of the stops. But I also think that part of the reason why Dennis is so transitory in the NBA is because his contract is very trade friendly. And in some ways, he's the kind of player that could be useful on most teams in certain ways. So he kind of becomes a bargaining chip, right? There's players that just get in that situation. Chucky Brown. There's a reason why Jeff Green has played for so many damn teams in this NBA, because he's just in a certain place in the league with his pay and his skills that he's somebody that gets kind of put in as filler in trades and ends up going in different places. Dennis is kind of in that category. Dennis is kind of in that category. I think that's part of it. Smooth saying this, well, at least he's getting money, albeit in a dysfunctional situation in Sacramento. We don't know how dysfunctional Sacramento is. It's just that they're confusing. I mean, we could see something really weird this year, especially if DeMar is resigned to coming back there, because I thought he was trying to get out of there. And there was a lot of talk and seeming like they were going to try and move him, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to get anybody moved. And Sacramento will go into the year with who they are. These kind of situations can be kind of weird because, when there's something like, oh, we weren't even supposed to be here, we have nothing to lose. Sometimes things are gained. And we'll have to just keep our eye on Sacramento. There's very likely they will be a bad team and they will be near the bottom of the standings. But you never know. With guys like DeMar and Dennis playing on a team, DeMattis, they could be very interesting in some ways, especially if Zach LaVine is still there too, and they are kind of getting things to click a little bit. You may be shocked at actually how much Sacramento could do this year. Yeah, you're saying Sacramento's a mess. Their front office needs to be fired. I won't disagree with this. I think that you're right, but we'll see what happens. But I'm hoping in some ways that they could do something good this year. Who knows? I like Dennis and DeMar a lot, so we'll have to see. James is saying, Lex, if you were to rebuild the Kings, who stays and who goes? Well, it seems like Sabonis is their franchise player, but it sounds like they want to move him again. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know. I would say to the Kings, just find somebody and stick to them, because it seems like y'all are jumping from guys to guys so quickly, like Tyrese Halliburton to De'Aaron Fox. Well, those guys are both gone now. Now, are you really in with it with DeMattis? Or are you trying to shop him too? Like, what are you doing? Like, who is your anchor? Who's your franchise player? Are you just going to become a place for older players to come and hang out and be at, like DeMar and Dennis? Choose what your identity is, because it seems like y'all don't have any fucking idea. And this is what James is talking about. Y'all aren't building anything because you don't have any, like, where's your franchise player? And how has this changed? Get behind Sabonis? Okay. But build around him. Build pieces that make sense to go with him. you know? Cool Cat saying Detroit should have kept Dennis, but I guess the money is needed for the younger players. Yeah, it's the roster spot and the money. And maybe I don't know how they analyze it or this or that, I don't know. I agree with you. He would be helping them still. He would be helping them still. Because I honestly thought during their playoff run just now, the Pistons this year, getting back to the playoffs, that the leadership and know-how of Hardaway Jr. and Schroder was very helpful. But I guess they don't care. So they just let him go. I don't know. I would question that about the Pistons front office right now. I feel like that may have been a mistake. Exactly what Cool Cat's saying right there. That's right. Kareem's here. Good to see Kareem Thomas, the dunk champion. I just want to get something straight. As a player, you want me to play for you. If I demand certain things that are illegal to the NBA, isn't it up to the person giving the contract to be at fault? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing about this whole situation with Kawhi, where it's got to be figured out as far as like who's at fault? Who would be at fault in this? Like a lot of people are trying to point fingers at Kawhi, and sure, yeah, he probably is guilty. Uncle Dennis definitely probably is guilty. He's probably the main person who's guilty in this whole thing because he probably was the one hoping or pushing for this the most. But I would say Steve Ballmer is just as guilty, if not more guilty, for allowing it. So yeah, this is the thing. Some people are going to say like, Dennis or Kawhi might be scapegoats, and Ballmer will just get away with it. That could happen in this situation. That could happen. But in some ways, Steve Ballmer is the most responsible for this. He's the most responsible for this in some ways. Most saying Lex out of content. I want to research Tara Davis, Woodhill, long jump, husband, Hunter Woodhall, para, so good. These are Paralympians. Very, very cool. Yeah, all right. You're just you're kind of out of the normal wheelhouse of the Raptor Freak channel, and you want to talk about Tara Davis Woodhall. She's a long jumper. Okay, the Woodhalls. Interesting. I might have to look into them and get a little more knowledgeable on them. All right, Mo. I appreciate you bringing this to us. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Monday. Congrats to Germany and massive respect to Dennis. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I, in some ways, was picking Germany to win this tournament when I saw the field. But yeah, and it happened. They did it. They did it. I was kind of picking them from the start. Like when I saw the bracket, when the 16 teams, I was like, man, Germany's got a good path to get there. And well, they did it. They did it. Kaz is saying, good morning, Lex and Rat Free Crew. Good morning to our WNBA fantasy champion, Trucker Kaz. Hope you're having a great start to your Monday morning and your route will be going well today. Cool Cat saying, I think Bad Bunny made a great decision. The way they keep his fans safer in the current climate. Yes. Yes. And there's more and more talk about changing the FIFA out of US. That the World Cup of soccer, the venues and the rescheduling and making it all maybe diverted from the United States because it is not safe to go there. I don't feel safe going there, and I'm an American citizen. Seriously, I don't feel safe going to the United States right now because I know there's a totalitarian element to the White House and what they're doing right now, and everything's off the table as far as law and order. They are making fucked up, crazy dictator rules. And in some ways, I don't want to have anything to do with that. And I'm not buying any American goods up here at this point. And I don't have any intention of going back to the United States, at least while this regime is in power, while it's down there. So, yeah, I mean, if they're going to try and have a whole ton of the world try and come to the United States for a World Cup, they're crazy. It's a really bad idea, considering just how overzealous and illegal ICE is acting right now. So, yeah, Bad Bunny, I respect you for your decision. He's not the only one. There's a ton of musicians, comedians, a lot of different artists that are not touring the United States currently right now. And it's partly a boycott and it's partly a message is what we're saying right here. You know, they'll come to Canada. They're touring across Canada. We got Europeans coming here to Canada and spending their tourist money here and not in the United States. People from around the world are diverting their planes and plans away from the United States to Canada. And in fact, they've had record tourist numbers in Canada this summer. Banff had the most traffic going through it. The park Banff in Alberta had the most traffic in it ever in history this year because people are boycotting the United States around the world, not just us. Everybody's doing it. And this is the crazy thing. Americans, you may be in an echo chamber right now where your mass media is not telling you the truth. They may be saying all this crazy bullshit. Your economy is falling so bad right now. Your industries are falling so bad. The tariffs are putting on you And y'all need to fight your dictator to get your life back straight. He's destroying y'all economically. He's destroying y'all's bonds with countries like ours. And it's going to be really hard to repair this shit. So y'all need to like swing the pendulum the right way away from the right-wing fascists and back to the peace, love, hippies in the left side, because that's that's when we'll come back. The world will come back when we have a Barack Obama in charge again. The world will come back when there's a sane, good leader who was doing good things like Joe Biden, not under this narcissist, gold plating the Oval Office piece of shit that is stealing right in front of your eyes from the American people, from their pocketbook, to gild his house and his apartments and his places with gold from Fort Knox, stealing money directly from the taxpayers, directly from food on the table for your kids. And y'all won't wake up and see this shit? Seriously. Yeah, don't have the World Cup in the United States. If we have more venues up here in Canada and more venues down in Mexico, that'd be smart, FIFA. That'd be smart. That's right. Smooth saying Toronto Blue Jays update. 13 games left. Blue Jays up by 4 over New York and 5 over Boston. Fantastic. Fantastic. Keep a good margin and get to the finish line and get to the postseason and make some October magic happen. That's right. Let's go, Blue Jays. Let's go, Toronto Blue Jays. That's right. Let's go, Reggie. That's right. Cool Cat saying Celtics have been trying to sign Boucher for a while now. Guess he had no choice but accept their offer this time. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad he just had somewhere to land on his feet, as you say. Yeah. I mean, in some ways it feels weird. It looks weird. But in some ways, I'm just glad he's still in the league. I just want Chris to be happy. In some ways, it's like, yeah, it's the Celtics. It's tough. But at least he's on the Celtics on a year where they're going to be bad. And they're not going to be like one of the top teams in the league. So, at least I think we'll beat them when we play them this year. So it'll be an interesting game when we play the Celtics this year, the times when we do, because they're not the same team this year. And in some ways, they're doing a duck year. They're ducking this year on purpose. And I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see the Celtics really, really in a travesty, like tank really hard. Like they may be a lot like the Sixers last year. Let's just put it that way. Just put it that way. If they're going to try and play without Tatum and play as hard as they can without him, and they end up mediocre, that's not going to be good for them. They want to bat them out and try and get a high lottery pick, like the Sixers got VJ Edgecombe this year. So it's either all or nothing with the Celtics, and it's already nothing because Jason is not healthy. So what is Chris going to be doing on the Celtics this year? Well, in some ways, he may be on a team that's very similar to what the Raptors have been the last couple years. A mediocre team or a team that's just missing the playoffs. So, yeah, that's it right there. Boom goes the dynamite. That's right. Trevor's saying FIFA has officially canceled all the games in the U.S. Is that for sure? Because listen, Trevor, your news sources are not always reputable. And in some ways, I have not heard this officially yet. If this was official, it would be on ESPN. But I don't think this is totally official. Let me see. I'm going to look at it. FIFA cancels World Cup in USA. Let me see if this is true. It's a rumor. It's not true yet. There's a lot of people calling for them to do this, but it is not. It's not for sure, Trevor. So this is fake news right now. There's a rumor. They're talking about this would be huge, and it would be out in more mainstream ways if this was actually true. It's not true yet. Now, I would say this. If they do go forward and having the FIFA games in U.S., I'll bet you we'll see a huge attendance at the games in Mexico and Canada, and barely anybody will go to the ones in the U.S. if they do go through with it. Because a lot of people are just going to be like me. They're like, I'm not going to risk travel to the U.S. because it's a fascist dictator state, and nobody fucking wants anything to do with that. And why would we support a country that's in that kind of state right now? Seriously, I'm making tough decisions. I may not see my niece and nephew for a long time because of this. They're going to have to come up here to see me because Uncle Lex ain't coming down to Atlanta anymore. I'm sorry, y'all. That's just how it is. So people want to come up to see me. They got to come to Canada because I ain't going to the States no more. No, I'm not. I had a friend who invited me to come down to Miami and see her. She's like, I got an $80 ticket on the plane. You could come down and see me in Miami. I said, fuck no. There is no way you get me to come down to the state of Florida, especially. Fuck that. No, I told her. I was like, I'm not coming to Miami. No, I'm not. Trevor is hearing the rumors, and in some ways, there's a lot of talk, and this could come true very soon, but it's not official yet. The games are still happening in the U.S. That's right. Let's see. Cool Cat's saying Angel Reese didn't throw her teammates under the bus. If you read the original article, you'll see it was a critique. The GM said the same thing Angel said in his exit interview. Isn't that funny? I don't know what they said exactly. In some ways, I'm just going by what people are saying and the feelings. T. Ross talked about this. We talked about this with Andrea Bargnani and when it happened on the Raptors. Even if she didn't say it exactly, all right, Cool Cat, even if there's just an inkling of reading into it in that kind of way, it's still not good, because that was kind of what happened with Bargnani. Bargnani was saying something in Italian, and the translation came out as, my teammates are bad, and that's why we're bad. Well, even if she said it in a certain way, and even if the GM said it too, it doesn't matter, because if the players that she plays with were rubbed the wrong way by what she said, the effect is a really bad effect. She could have said it a certain way that she thought she was saying it in a non-touchy way, just like the GM or whatever. But if the players on the team are feeling it, that's all that matters, right? She said that? Really? Fuck her, is what they're saying. That's the thing that's bad. That's the thing. And like what Savannah Hamilton's saying on Cinderella Stories, the podcast, is saying, Angel Reese, if you have issues with your team, you need to go and vent to people that privately and not say it to reporters. You need to go and talk to your family, go talk to your friends, and make sure that they keep it quiet. And you can vent, but don't vent to the press. That's not the place to vent to. That's what Savannah Hamilton's saying about this, and trying to teach a lesson, or say, this is the advice I have for you, Angel Reese, is, have a better outlet and don't just use the public. It's not a good idea. Smith saying, I don't see anything online about FIBA canceling. Yeah, it's not true yet. It's not for sure. Trevor's saying, it's been all over social media, Smooth. They cancel all the games in the U.S. They have not, Trevor. That's why I was saying, in some ways, Trevor, you got to use critical thinking and look at this. This is a huge story. If that happened, they would be talking about it on CNN. They'd be talking about it on the main news, but it has not happened. There's rumors and there's a big push. A lot of people would like that to happen. They're saying we should do that, but that has not officially happened. And I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't happen, because of this, and everything that's involved with this will not allow them to cancel it. And they're crazy. It just is, come at your own risk is the kind of thing. Now, will a player get arrested by ICE in some sort of crazy, weird, mistaken identity thing? Maybe a player's not playing at the arena and they went out to dinner and they're at a restaurant and they look Hispanic, and all of a sudden ICE agents coming in and messing with like one of the top strikers for a team from South America and say, oh, come here, buddy. Yeah, this is the thing. So Supreme Court has decided we can judge people just on their appearance. Yeah, it's so unconstitutional, so un-American. But you know what? This is the fucked up Trump cartoon world we're living in. Yeah, you look Mexican, bro. Come on outside. I want to talk to you. Yeah, no, don't fight me. No, all right, you're arrested. Oh, you play for a soccer team? I don't give a shit. You're coming down to the detention center. Come on. Yeah, we're hog-tying you, and we're carrying you out like this and humiliating you as an athlete that's revered in your country as a god. But you know what? We're going to treat you like a piece of shit just because you're Hispanic. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Judge Roberts said I'm allowed to judge you just on your appearance and say, oh, this guy looks Mexican. I better go check and see if he's illegal or not. That's the shit they're doing right now. So is anybody going to want to go down there? I mean, a player would be worried about this shit. If I was a player on a team that was supposed to play in World Cup, and I was a prominent player, like a money-driving player, like a LeBron of FIFA, I would boycott. I would say, I'm not playing in any games in the United States. I'm not even going to come into the country. I think that if there's a prominent player like LeBron that matters that much, I don't know who the equivalent is. If they did that, that would be a huge statement right now. That would be a huge political statement, and it would make a big deal. Seriously. So I would ask a very important, prominent FIFA soccer player for one of the main teams, maybe it's Brazil, something like that, to step out and say, look, we're not coming. Or maybe even a whole team just says, fuck this, we're not coming. There's there's people that are boycotting stuff, like the whole thing they do Eurovision. It's a singing competition in Europe. And there's countries lining up and saying, if Israel's included, we're not fucking showing up. And Spain's saying that. Spain said that recently. Said if Israel's involved in Eurovision, we're boycotting. We're not going to be participating. That's the thing. We can boycott stuff in different ways. And if there's a prominent soccer player that does not want to come to the United States for World Cup, go ahead and make your message clear. Seriously. Because that scenario, I caught it before it hit the ground. Wow. I got those goalie reflexes. That scenario is very likely to happen during World Cup. What I just said about the player in the restaurant and the ICE agents, that is very likely to happen. If it doesn't happen to a player, it's going to happen to a citizen of another country just trying to come over and enjoy some soccer. It's going to happen. Seriously. This shit's happening right now. It's crazy. Swift saying it's official, not speculation. I don't know if it's official. I don't think Trevor's right. I think he's a little bit ahead of it. Cool Cat, it may happen. It could happen in the next couple of days, but I think he's a little ahead of it. Cool Cat saying that's why I said Mobo needs a personal life coach to know how to navigate his life in the NBA and his personal beliefs. Career can expire sooner than expected. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against Mobo being so religious and putting it out there. It's just, man, the passage that he was writing, that's not the right message for right now, bro. We don't need wrath and spite. We need healing and humble and caring and love and togetherness and unity. You know, that kind of talk right there is the kind of talk that people want retribution right now. And the people that want retribution right now are not good people. Let's just put it that way. They're misguided people. In fact, let me tell more about this Charlie Kirk assassination last week. Listen, you guys want to know the real deal why he got shot? It's because of MAGA. MAGA shot him. MAGA shot MAGA. And why did MAGA shoot MAGA? Because Donald Trump is old and he's about to die. Yeah, Donald Trump looks like shit. And a lot of people are speculating that his health is horrible and that he could pass away way before his term is over. So what's happening is there's a lineup, a hierarchy underneath him, underlings like J.D. Vance, like Charlie Kirk, like Brian Fuentes. And these are all MAGA like people that want to take Trump's spot when he passes away. So basically, this is the whole thing. And this is very like gang wars, inner city gang wars. This is very drug cartel kind of bullshit. This is very organized crime, mafioso, Italian, Sicily shit. Is basically the way that they were looking at it was Charlie Kirk's a very popular MAGA young leader. And he has a lot of people that follow him. Well, Brian Fuentes has people that follow him too. But they want the same chair after Trump dies. They want that same spot. And Vance wants it too. Vance wants it too. In fact, you know, J.D. Vance may not be that upset that Charlie Kirk got murdered last week. I'm going to say this right now. And think about why. Because they want his spot. And in some ways, that kid shot Charlie Kirk for Brian Fuentes to get the spot that Donald Trump is sitting in. That's the thing that they're not saying about this. This is like gangland hit style for like mini bosses in this mafia called MAGA for who is going to be the Don once the Don dies. Seriously. That was the motivation of the shooter. The shooter shot Charlie Kirk because he wasn't as hateful enough as Brian Fuentes. He wasn't as fucking racist enough. He was a little bit kind of liberal in some of his mentalities. He wasn't pure enough in his hatred and his rhetoric. So he shot him because he was worried because Charlie Kirk is so charismatic that he would jump in Trump's spot after Trump dies. That is the truth right there. I just laid it out for you. If you listen to me and what I just said, it makes total sense. Why did a right-wing MAGA person who's even more fucked up than Charlie Kirk shoot Charlie Kirk? Because they're thinking about who's taking over after Trump's gone. And J.D. Vance, for all we fucking know, is like, yeah, I'm signing off on this shit. The faster things happen in a way that I can ensconce myself and take all threats that are coming up underneath us to be the leader, because I'm not as charismatic as Charlie Kirk. I'm not as handsome. I'm not as this or this. He's a threat to me. You know, MAGA people probably some MAGA people wanted him dead because they didn't want him to be the new leader of MAGA. That's the truth. The leftists did not kill him. You know, as much as he's deplorable and a piece of shit, and in some ways we're not upset that he died, y'all shot him yourself. And it was really just like in a gang or a mafia or a drug cartel where lieutenants are looking at the capo is going to be gone, and we want to line up succession so that we can get the right person in the spot afterwards. You know that rings true. You know half the shit that comes out of my mouth sounds so goddamn true because it is. You know that sounds so true what I just said. And it is not a conspiracy theory. That's the damn truth. It's in the rhetoric of the Grouder faction under Brian Fuentes. It's what Brian Fuentes has been telling these young guys to hate Charlie Kirk for years. He's the one who's at fault, Brian Fuentes. He programmed that young man to go and shoot Charlie Kirk at Utah State last week. He programmed him to do that, and he did it. That's the crazy ass thing. When you have disaffected youths, young men that feel like they have nothing to live for, you can influence them in really fucked up ways with fear and hate. And that's what they're doing right now. That's the whole thing that MAGA is, man. And it's like they just had a little capo lieutenant fight. And a lieutenant's guy took out another lieutenant so that they could get in the spot and the rankings of who's going to take over MAGA after dumbass Donald dies. Yeah, that's it right there. Boom goes the dynamite right there. So Jonathan Mobo, if you want to hear the truth, come listen to me. And what I just said is the truth. You want to be a part of a crime syndicate because you follow Charlie Kirk and you believed in him? Man, don't follow that shit. You're better than that. There's much better leaders out there. Get with Brandon Ingram. Go talk to him. He can help you politically. Seriously. Cool Cat saying Drake and DeMar have their own personal battle, and Raptors fans should stay out of it. It's rich boys having a tiff. DeMar ain't got no problem with Drake. It's Drake's problem. DeMar has very publicly said, I have no problem with Aubrey. I love Aubrey. I'll talk to him when he wants to. This is Drake being a whiny little bitch. And in some ways, we get dragged into it when Drake puts it publicly in a song. I don't want to talk about this shit. If they have public problems, if they have private problems, keep it private. Don't get us involved. This is the thing. You know what it is? It's whiny ass little Drake whining, DeMar, I hate him, but y'all still love him. Somebody pick my side. Please pick my side. I'm going to make a song about him and take a shot at him again. And I'm going to test how much of y'all are actually on my side because I'm insecure and I care about whether you're on my side or Kendrick and DeMar's. Oh, he's such a little bitch. At this point, he's such a little bitch. Aubrey, you're such a little bitch, man. Seriously, you want us to stay out of it, Cool Cat? Well, don't fucking put out any more songs, Drake. Putting the Groat's name in your song. Seriously, don't do that anymore. Drake is bringing this shit out. DeMar has no problem with him. In fact, DeMar's a grown adult in this. He's like, Drake, you're so funny with your stupid ass songs. Seriously, man, I love you. That's what DeMar's energy is right now. It's like, oh, Drake, you're just trying to sell records. All right, fine. You want to call me names. I'm above it, man. I have self-respect and self-confidence that whatever you say doesn't affect me, bro. I've been through the worst, bro. The Raptors traded me and it broke my heart. You can't hurt me at this point, Aubrey, is what he's saying. That's how his energy is. Meanwhile, Aubrey's a hurt little bitch, writing songs a year after something happened. Seriously, what a fucking little whiny bitch. Go to therapy, Aubrey. Go to therapy. That's right. It's a personal beef. We have to stay out of it. It's a personal beef? No. He's bringing it public. Drake's bringing it public, not DeMar. DeMar's classier than that. Whenever Drake comes up, he's like, man, I like Drake. Drake's still my buddy, man. I called him. I would talk to him. You know, I don't understand why Drake's doing this. I think he's just trying to sell records. Seymour saying, salute to DeMar DeRozan, nothing but love. That's right. That's the right attitude from the sheriff, Seymour Pape, holding it down for us in Calgary, Alberta. That's right. Cream Thomas saying, well, Lex, it's been 4 years since we were pretty much on the same page. But this Drake and DeMar stuff, I'll have to disagree with you. If I'm great friends with someone and he was traded and he came to me for consolement, I wouldn't expect him to backstab me siding with someone who's accusing me of being a pedophile. If DeMar was a long-lasting friend, Kendrick, why was he never in his videos in the past? He picked a side. There doesn't have to be sides, though. That's the thing. And this is what DeMar's message is. And this is why I'm saying this is why this is so full of shit. Is because there doesn't have to be a side. First of all, let's not get it twisted. The stuff with Lamar and Drake is all for selling records. A lot of it's just bullshit publicity shit. We know that they used each other to get in the news more and more and just get more attention to sell records. There was that period of time where they were writing songs back and forth. And yeah, sure, maybe it got a little personal and maybe it did get a little heated because some personal shit came out. Like that note, singing that note. High C, whatever he was singing, stuff like that. Look, I say this once again. DeMar is unassuming. In some ways, he is not picking sides. It's Drake that put it in his head that he's picking sides. It's just DeMar has friendships with both of them. And this is the thing. People can get divorced and they can share a friend still. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people can't do it for some reason, but some people can. And that thing is like, look, this person's important. It's not fair to the friend. If they were friends with both y'all when you were married, that you get divorced and you go separate ways, that you can't still be friends with both. And that's what this situation is. If Drake wants to tell himself in his head that DeMar chose his side because he appeared in the Not Like Us video, that's his own narrative that he made up in his own fucking head. Because that is not what DeMar's thinking. DeMar just said, hey, you want me to be in a video? This, okay. In some ways, he didn't even think that deeply on it. Like, I'm not doing this to hurt Drake. I'm not coming on this to stab him in the back. I'm just showing up to be in a video for my friend Kendrick. I think that some people are reading into this too much. DeMar has not got that kind of thing in his body in some ways. And you say he stabbed him in the back. He was in a video for a friend. And, well, the friend was talking shit about Drake. Yeah. I don't know. I think that this is so juvenile, the whole thing. And Drake needs to grow up is what we're saying here. Drake needs to grow up. In some ways, guys, you can't hold on to grudges and things like this. You only hurt yourself. It doesn't go well when you just hold on to the grudge for a long, long time and it doesn't get resolved. Drake, you need to go to therapy and you need to go figure it out. You know what? Go sit down with DeMar. He could clear things up with you. That's the other thing is DeMar's line is open. You could call him and talk to him probably. But no, you're enjoying being in your own little negative feelings and being a little bitch and just sitting in them instead. You know, you could probably call DeMar and clear this all up today if you really wanted to, but I don't think you really want to. I think you like this controversy and you like the attention and you're utilizing it for that. That's what it is right there, guys. That's what it is right there. Now, I do know that Drake was there for DeMar when he got traded, and that's what friends do. And sure, you can say that you think DeMar stabbed you in the back, but listen, I thought the same thing when it happened too. But then I listened to what DeMar said, and I heard him out, and I said, you know what? He's not trying to do anything bad to Drake. He's just living his life. He didn't read into it that deeply like Aubrey did. Aubrey read into it too deeply. And that line about us not deserving D Rose, well, that was bullshit by Kendrick. And I can say that. I mean, look, Toronto loves DeRozan. DeRozan loves Toronto. We deserve each other. And whatever the fuck that lyric was supposed to mean, Kendrick Lamar, two finger salute for you. So I can say fuck you to both the rappers involved. And I love the raptor who's involved. That's it. That's it. That's it right there. That's it. And we can disagree, Kareem. Hopefully maybe I illuminate a little bit more to kind of say this is why my stance on this is this way. Because Drake continues this shit. We could put this thing home real easy with a phone call. Just call Debo, man. You dumbass. Just call him. You'd be shocked at probably what he'd say to you. You'd probably be shocked. He's a well-adjusted, mature man who is living in a man's life as far as living like I'm a man, but I'm a sensitive man and I have feelings, but I'm also a man. You called him, he talked to you like a man. And he'd clear things up real quick. He probably even apologized to you, man. He probably even apologized to you, Drake, to a degree. Because he might say, you know what? I didn't even realize that was what was going to happen, man. I just showed up for Kendrick because he said he had a video and he wanted me to be there. And I didn't realize it was going to go like this, man. If I knew this was going to hurt you so bad, Drake, I wouldn't have done it. I'm sorry. That may be what DeRozan says to him. And then all of a sudden, Drake's like, oh, man, that means so much. So you finally said that, man. All right, we're cool. You know, that's all we need here is a phone call, Drake, instead of a fucking veiled dumbass lyric that's so stupid, man. Seriously. That's what I say right there. Monique is saying this. Yes, Lex, it's sad in reference to Drake. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Drake, grow up is what I'm saying. And go get therapy. Seriously. So we're saying, Trevor, are you sure FIFA is canceling World Cup games? I'm not seeing an official announcement. It's not true. It's rumors. Trevor, once again, when you read the text, it's going to say they're considering this and this. There's nobody that said they've canceled them. They're just talking about it. There's rumors. This would be a huge story if it was. I can go to ESPN and look on the front page, and it would be right on the front page. All games in U.S. canceled. It does not say that anywhere. It does not say that anywhere. So you're a little ahead. You're on the rumor mill, and you're taking the rumor mill as gospel, and it is not true. It is not true. That's right. That's right. Isaac's saying this. I am done with Drake. So peace and love, not division. Make good music already, and you don't need to go after others. W. DeMar. There you go. I like that. I'm going to give a dunk for Isaac. That's what I'm saying. Just make good music, and then you don't have to have controversy to get attention. It's so stupid, man. It's like make good music, and then you don't have to rely on feuds and dumbass shit like you have for most of your career. You've always had dumbass feuds. It's like, oh man, we got to have a feud somewhere. What are you, fucking Vince McMahon, WWE, you fuckface? You got to have a new main event, something like that. Isaac, you got 69 dunks, man. 69 dunks. Swiss saying, if this is true, do they transfer the games to Canada locations? Well, that's the rumor, is that all the games that would be scheduled to play in the U.S., and I don't know the sheer amount of them. I don't follow soccer, so I'm not really keeping up on this too closely. They would transfer all the games that would be played in venues in the United States to Canada and Mexico. And there would be new cities popping up and having venues. But the thing is, I don't know if the infrastructure is ready for it, because you got to do this planning years and years ahead. Like the Olympics are a disaster already. The LA Olympics are going to be an absolute complete fucking disaster. In fact, in some ways, they may need to try and divert that shit away from the United States immediately. Seriously, because the way things are going down there, by 2028, it's not going to be a country that can healthily hold the Olympics. Seriously. So, yeah, they're going to transfer the games here is the plan, and to Mexico also. Seymour saying, so Drake can love every star from other team when they play us. He can party with other teams, but you hate DeMar, who bleeds for us, man. Yeah, it's a really bad look. And I don't think Drake understands just how much we see DeMar as a martyr, as a sacrifice, as somebody that was essential to sacrifice to get the 2019 championship. But in some ways, we thank him for it, because once again, he did a lot of the work building up to it, and he just lost out on getting the cup at the end of it. In some ways, he's in some ways, you got to love him even more for that. Seriously. Drake, you're an idiot. And all the fans that follow Drake and are like calling him DeFrozen today, fuck you. That's disrespectful to our growth, is what I'm saying. That's right. Kareem saying, I know DeMar and the Raptors are one thing, but this is personal between two people. There's no way in hell that people would side with Kendrick if he wasn't a Raptor. I don't know, because in some ways, look, I'm going to say this once again. Drake is not a real artist. Kendrick is. Kendrick writes about things that matter. He's writing about subjects that are political. He's writing about things that he's risky to write about. Drake is just writing about his sex life and girls and fucking them over. And when has Drake ever taken a meaningful stance on anything politically? Never. So to me, looking at Kendrick Lamar as a music person, as a guy who worked in radio and understands music very deeply, he's more of an artist. He's a real artist. Drake is just a pop star. And in some ways, I have more respect for Lamar because of that. I do. Even though, I mean, look, I was rubbed wrong way by Kendrick too when that song came out. But over time, I've understood it better. And I understand what it is. And the interpretation of Not Like Us by DeMar DeRozan is the one that I like to believe. And I think that in some ways, sure, people can interpret it all kinds of ways. Not Like Us is sounding like a very divisive song. But there are people out there that see it as a very inclusive, kind of bringing us in kind of song too. So a lot of it's perception. Sure, shots were fired on Drake, but that was what the game was that summer, wasn't it? We're going to come out every week with a new song and we're going to take shots at each other. And just because he made a shot at you about being a pedophile, Drake, well, shit, man. Epstein, come on now. This is not cool to be having sex with underage girls. Let's just put it that way. And it's shit. I'm not going to get mad at Kendrick if he's calling out Drake for something that's heinous like that. Seriously. This is a world we're living in with Epstein files and shit like that. And if Drake did some Diddy shit and Kendrick's calling him out, you can be upset about it, Drake, because somebody called you out for your gross behavior. I mean, seriously, what are we defending here, Kareem? What are we defending? If he actually did that shit, you're defending a pedophile. And you would be defending somebody like Donald Trump, who's on the Epstein list. So think about it from that perspective. Think about it from that perspective. In some ways, if it's true what Kendrick's saying about Drake, you're defending a pedophile, then is what I'm saying. Seymour saying, I'm not even engaging with some of y'all. Yo, it's all good. Kareem can have, this is a great thing, man, because we love Kareem. Kareem Thomas is a very important Raptor freak, and we are not agreeing today, and that's totally fine. Drake is a fan of basketball, but he's let that go for a second. If your good friend sides with someone who's calling you a pedophile, then what do? Explain that to me. Well, what if you are a pedophile? That's what I would say. Explain that to me. Listen, if it's such a bad thing what Kendrick does, where is the lawsuit? Where's the libel? Whereas the like, hey, you can't say that about me because that's not true. And I got a lawyer and I'm suing you. Where's that? If it's such a lie. Seriously. That's the thing, man. In some ways, I love you, Kareem. Either way, I like the lively disagreement right here, and it's nothing personal about this. In some ways, we can disagree. I'm not like Drake. I'm not going to take this shit personal. Shaq saying the fear of God is taken out of context. It's not the wrath of God. It's the absence of Him that you need to fear. Ah, I see what you're saying there. Okay, I mean, and I get that, but I mean, also one thing is like Christians sometimes say you got to come to church every day. You have to do this. You have to do that. And in some ways, they have to toe a line that says, "Oh, you got to do this." Now, I don't self-identify as a Christian, but I believe in Christian ideals. Now, parse that one out. Seriously, I think that Christianity is one of the most beautiful things in the world because it actually teaches love and union and happiness. But the parts of Christianity that are wrathful and have been used to control society as far as keep people in line because, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't be like this, because that's been part of the religion that I don't like. Is it using as a tool to control the masses? And in some ways, they'll make up bullshit and say, you can't do this. You can't have sex without putting your penis through a hole in a sheet or something like that. They just make up some crazy ass shit in some ways. Absence of God in your life. Well, what is God? Is God a guy in the clouds with a beard that's white? Is God Jesus Christ? Is God monotheistic, or is it pantheistic, where there's tons of gods, like in Hinduism? What is God? To me personally, what God is Mother Nature and the Creator. And in some ways, I look at God as being a very natural science-based thing and not necessarily a religious thing. I look at a creator that created the trees, the animals, and that creator may not even be male. That could be Mother Nature or Gaia or Mother Earth. And in some ways, I can take the ideals of Christianity, the stuff that is absolutely beautiful and powerful and is absolutely just and right. And I can avoid all the fire and brimstone and the shame and the hate and the stuff that kind of is controlling the masses through intimidation. Sure. I mean, what is this? What are we talking about? What is God? It's different to every single person. But if you have good intentions and you want to follow the ways of Christianity, you can do that without being a Christian. You can follow the ways of Judaism without being a Jew. You can follow the ways of Islam without being a Muslim. It really is. You can be a person that takes a little dabble of each one. There's a lot of Buddhism in my thought and belief. But this is the thing. A Mormon, a certain Muslim, a certain Jewish person, they would not allow any belief from any of the other areas to come into their head because, oh, that's the only one that's right. Fuck that. I say go get the sampler platter and get the best of each one. That's what you should do. Because honestly, the best is not in just one place. There's good stuff in each one. And there's stuff you can pick and choose and get a little bit from each. And get the stuff that matters to you and pertains to you as far as what will help you with your spirituality and your beliefs. It's a difficult thing. I'm not classically a Christian. Sitting in here with Trevor and Randolph and talking about Jesus Christ with you guys all the time has been fantastic. It's opened my eyes. They've taught me. They've been amazing in opening my eyes and getting me to be, more with Christian ideals. But in some ways, I don't like the part that's fire and brimstone that's supposed to scare people into it. I think people should do things because they want to. They shouldn't do it because they're under duress and they're forced to. And that's kind of where I'm at with this. Shaq Lindsay, I appreciate your denotation of giving me this point. That makes sense what you're saying. Kareem saying, if your good friend sides with someone who called you a pedophile and is willing to participate in such a trending song, but never did before, then what do you make of it? Never did before. You mean like never showed up in your video? Did he ever ask him to be in his video? I don't know if he ever asked Damar to be in his video. Did he ask Kyle to be in his video? Did he ask Fred to be in his video? Did he ask any of those guys to be in his video? He's asked Tristan Thompson to be in his video. He's been in his video. He's asked Kevin Durant to be in his video. He's been in his video. He's asked LeBron to be in his video. He's been in his video. He asked Steph Curry to be in his video. I'm pretty sure he was in his video too. But I don't remember any of the Raptors being in any of his videos. Maybe a little bit in a snippet or something like that. They show him at the game and you see somebody running by on the court. So I don't know, man. This is a two-way street. I'm not doing this, man. This is what I'll say, Kareem. If Diddy or not Diddy, if Drake is like Diddy, then you're defending a pedophile. Let's just put it that way. Let's just put it that way. Seymour saying he has a LeBron tattoo, but he's your ambassador. Exactly, Seymour. I like that point right there. That's right. Kareem saying Kendrick never rode for DeMar, and DeMar never rode for Kendrick. DeMar got sucked in, and Kendrick called him to be his video to hit Drake where it hurts. That's not true. DeMar DeRozan's known Kendrick Lamar since they were children. DeMar DeRozan's known Kendrick Lamar in Compton before they were either one of them were famous. He's more with Kendrick than he is with with Drake, because they're from the same town and they were from the same neighborhood, Compton. So this is not true. Kendrick has been tight with DeMar DeRozan forever. Forever. They've known each other since they were kids. And Drake, he just met when he came up to Toronto. So if you're talking about who he's known or rode for longer, it's Kendrick. It's just the truth, man. And Seymour saying, everyone have a great positive day. Right back at you, Seymour. I appreciate you being here. We missed you at the birthday party. Of course, you are a very, very valid, important part of the Raptor Freak channel. That's for sure. Here's Randolph right here. Morning blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks family. Games are played to win. Life is lived to accomplish your purpose. Learn the difference and live right. You know, the purpose of life isn't to win, though, necessarily. The purpose of life is to make life better for you and your loved ones and everybody else. That's what I say it is. The purpose of life is to love and find connection and unity. And there's way too much division out there. That's for sure. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families. That's right. And Cream saying, if y'all don't see the DeMar backstabber of Drake, then y'all wearing Raptors goggles too tight. Listen, I thought the same thing when this came out, and we did streams on this. We talked about it, and I was really disappointed in DeMar. But I also said I have to hear what he has to say about it, and then I did hear what he had to say about it. Last year, when DeMar came to Toronto to do his book signing, and he came and talked in the press conference, he very much illuminated things on how he felt about this. And what he said to me was acceptable for his behavior and his actions and what he did. He's like, this is way bigger deal than anything. I didn't realize this was going to make such a big deal to Drake. In some ways, he was apologetic about it. He's not trying to hurt Drake. He's just living his life. It's kind of like, you know, Kareem, if you went to see a friend and you were hanging out with a friend and you had another friend that used to see him, but you thought they were still together, and you went over to the friend's house and said, hey, what's up, man? What's up, Rod? I haven't seen you in a while, man. It's too bad you and Maria didn't work out. Yeah, about that. And he's like, yeah, but hey, let's hang out and stuff like that. Maria calls you the next day. You fucking backstabber. You backstabbed me going to hang out with Rod. Wait, what do you mean? You're not with Rod anymore, Maria? No, we broke up. Fuck that guy. And you're picking him over me. That's what's happening here. Don't you realize that? DeMar didn't even know this. He didn't go get with Lamar and say, yeah, let's hurt Drake. No, he's a patsy in this. He didn't understand this shit was going down like this, and this would be the effect. Now, does DeMar need to kiss Drake's ass and come out in public and do all this and that? No, he could privately talk to him, but the opportunity hasn't happened for some reason. And like I've said, I've heard DeMar publicly say he has no problem with Aubrey. No problem whatsoever. He's confused about this. In fact, he's like, I'll talk to him today. So this is the thing. I'm not mad at DeMar anymore because he came and he told us his side of the story. And it's acceptable to me. If you have not heard DeMar's side of the story with this and you still think he backstabbed him, well, that's your perception of this. I got the vibes and the feeling from DeMar when he talked about it is he had no ill will intention towards Drake. And in his mind, he was still friends with everybody. And that scenario I just talked about with Maria and Rod is exactly how it happened. Right there, man. Right there. Kareem saying, sorry for, hang on. He's saying, sorry for the hijacking of the comments. I'm standing 10 toes down on this. Remove basketball out of this and your friend did this to you. What would your stance be? We got to see it from all sides. Isaac saying this Kawhi fiasco is reminiscent of kitchen table politics of the day. Millions of dollars being concealed, billionaires too big to fall, and a weird conservative uncle. Is he conservative? I don't know if Dennis is conservative. That's weird. I don't know about that. Cool Cat saying football is the most popular sport in the world, and the biggest populations come from countries the GOP does not want. Yeah. Well, they don't want anybody who's not white. That's basically it. They don't want anybody from Africa unless they're from South Africa and they're white and they're trying to escape. They don't want anybody from south of us at all. Nobody from south of the United States. Mm-mm. I don't even think they want any of us up here in Canada coming there anymore. In fact, Marco Rubio apparently is going to take U.S. passports away from people like me and say, yeah, if you're not living here and if you have views for Palestine, I'm going to take your passport. That's what they said. If you support Palestine, Marco Rubio has a program that he's going to take the U.S. passport away from somebody like me. Oh my gosh. I already said I'm not coming back. Marco Rubio, you're going to take my passport. Fucking go ahead. You take my fucking passport, you little shit. You fucking piece of shit. You go ahead and take my U.S. passport. I don't give a shit. You can do it. It's going to expire in 2 years anyway. In some ways, I don't give a shit. You fucking take my passport, Rubio. You have no power over me in that way. I don't care. It's not like I want to go to the States anyway. I mean, shit. Come on now. All right. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's see. Coquette saying, Lex, the WNBA Chicago players were reacting to a second article that a Chicago sports journalist wrote as a hit piece. You know how sports writing is sometimes. Well, good. I hope that they're clarifying it up. Well, if they can put that dumpster fire out, because the news is that they're going to stay with Reese, that they're not going to try and move Angel, and maybe they cleared it up on the inside. Of course, the press wants the fireworks. They want the drama, and they're going to promote that side of it. They're not going to promote the coming together and fixing things, because that's not going to sell copies and that bullshit. So hopefully Angel Reese got things together with her teammates and clarified things, and they're all on the right page. That's what I hope happened right there. That's right. That's right. Kuget saying, look at the South Korea fiasco. Does it look like it will be better for millions of people that are football fanatics? U.S. current climate is not welcoming to the football world population. Yeah, the Hyundai workers that were taken by ICE were had human rights violations done to them. They were zip tied and hog tied for hours and kept in a certain way that was absolutely dehumanizing and against human rights standards that are set by the UN around the world. The United States is breaking human rights violations right now. And the Hyundai Koreans are a good example of this. And it's really fucked up. These people were doing something law abiding just not that long ago, and it wasn't a big deal. I guess they're saying they weren't because they weren't U.S. citizens and they were working in a Korean car plant in the United States for making Hyundai. Either way, the treatment that was done to them was not right. And the Guatemalan children, that's another really big messed up thing. They're doing all kinds of crazy messed up shit. And then they're also, some of the Republicans are starting to talk about lethal injection for homeless people. Like, it's really getting sick and grim and twisted and macabre. And these people are not human beings. They're monsters. MAGA people are monsters at this point. They don't have a lot of shred of humanity in them anymore. They only give a shit about themselves, obviously, because we see the outpouring of sadness for Charlie Kirk. But where was that outpouring for school shootings with kids? Where's that outpouring for travesties of justice like George Floyd? Where's that outpouring for the murder of left-wing politicians? No, we see exactly how much they are monsters, and they really don't have and justice or equality for all kind of mentality. It's very much, if you're rich and white, Christian, conservatives, we're for you. Everybody else, fuck off. We want you to die, is basically how they are right now at this point. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, Lex, message came up saying I don't have permission to view our WNBA fantasy league. Did you close it down? I didn't. ESPN probably did. The league stopped last week, and they don't. I guess they don't see any reason for us to go and check on it. So I didn't do it. Let me go check and see if I still have access to it, because I'm the commissioner, and maybe it'll tell me the same damn thing as you just said. We'll have to see. Let me see. Where is it? It's just spinning uncontrollably. No, I can still get in our league. Just make sure that you're logged into your ESPN account, Cool Cat. I can still see it all. So it is still there. So yeah, you might not be logged into ESPN account. So that may be it. Monique is saying, W stream, W vibes, go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor free crew strong forever. Just help me limit the comments. Thank you, Mo. I appreciate that. I got about 12 minutes. So I got to go there. Cream saying, so Drake needs to call DeMar for DeMar crossing him. DeMar must be the most out of touch person if he thinks doing this video with Kendrick would stir up shit. Well, maybe he didn't know the whole concept. Maybe he didn't even hear the song. You know, this is kind of part of what it is. Like, Kendrick could have said, hey, DeMar, I want you to be in my video. And he didn't tell him anything about the song or the video. Video shoots sometimes can be like just the visuals. I want you to do this, and that's it. And then they add the music later. It could be that DeMar had no idea. It really does seem like that when he talks about it. Seriously. The message of the song to him was about people from the inner city telling people not from the inner city that you're not like us. People that are well-to-do, people that are, living in the suburbs. That's the message. You are not like us. And DeMar could get behind that message. you know. I mean, listen, you may see DeMar DeRozan a very different way than me. He's a very honest, authentic person. And if he sits down and he tells you something, he's so vulnerable and open about his feelings and his depression. I have no reason to doubt him. I have no reason to think he's a liar. Sure, Kendrick, Drake, I probably wouldn't trust them as much as I trust DeMar, because DeMar is somebody I can see as a pure person, a pure, very honest person. So you imprinting this kind of stuff on him, you're saying he must be the most out of touch person? No. What if Kendrick didn't let him know what he was coming into and he filmed him, and then it came out later and DeMar's like, "Oh shit, I didn't know you were doing that, Kendrick." And then that's like the damage control. And Drake, it's not even that Drake needs a, why not doesn't he call him? That's what I say. Little bitches just stay behind and like not call and reach out. If you have a problem with somebody, confront them. Seriously. Seriously, especially if it's tormenting you for a year. Seriously, get over yourself. Call that person. Clear up the air. If they matter that much to you. If they don't, move on and get rid of them in your mind and move on with your life. That's the only two options I see here, Kareem. Either you call him and say, "Look, I got a problem with you, DeMar," and I talk to him like a man, or you move on like a man and say, "All right, I'm over this. I'm moving on. I'm moving in the future. And this is in the past." This man dragging this up it really smacks of, I just want more clicks on my songs. I just want more publicity. I just want more attention. And in some ways, that is so inauthentic and gross to me, that you would turn Raptors fans against the GOAT just for your own fucking record sales. That is not what a global ambassador should be doing. That is not right there. Yeah, Trevor's saying, man, the things you guys are not going to see in Canada, most of the grocery stores here, shelves are empty. The biggest meat factory and producer already closed 3 locations. This is crazy. So yeah, you're not going to see any of this on the news. This is real shit. Like, since Canada stopped buying Kentucky liquor, there's been a huge amount of companies, liquor companies in Kentucky that have bankrupted and closed because Canada customers were buying most of their bourbon and they're gone. This is what I'm saying. Donald Trump is destroying the United States economy and their relationships around the world very quickly. He did it in 8 months, really. It's crazy how quickly he's been able to destroy everything with Project 2025. And that chaos and all that stuff was on purpose because they want to institutionalize a dystopian surveillance state of the world. That's what they're trying to do. Confuse everybody, make everybody mad. And then they'll put in the cameras, they'll put in the surveillance, and they'll start like policing in really weird, fucked up ways. Like, hey, you're a supporter of Palestine, not Israel. We're coming to take you to jail. Shit like that. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. This is some 1984 shit. And we need to be understanding that. And yeah, Trevor's telling us the truth. They're having problems with things down there. I mean, that's probably the truth. People are struggling down there. People are going to be struggling bad. Like Bernie Sanders said, this healthcare change is going to be really awful. People are going to die, and people are not going to be able to afford any kind of healthcare in the United States as the Medicare changes happen. It's just going to be sad, man. Kareem Thomas saying, "Love you too, Lex. We good." Yeah, man, this is good. I like this lively debate. I like that you're on one side of things and I'm on one side too in this one, because in some ways we can flesh it out. And I understand what you're saying. It doesn't feel good if your friend's calling you a pedophile, I'm sure. But I can't just look at this from Drake's perspective. I got to look at this from all 3 perspectives. I'm not really on Kendrick's side. Really not. I don't like Kendrick Lamar in some ways. I wish he had not written that song in some ways, because even if the idea of that song was so beautiful and what he was trying to say, it came off the wrong way. And in some ways it's instilled division and hate, and it's done the wrong thing, not the thing it was intended. So in some ways, I'm not really happy with Kendrick either, but I damn for sure going to stand up for DeMar. Seriously, because like I said, I think he's innocent in this. I think that you guys saying that he threw his friend under the bus. Well, if you did that, call him, Drake, and work it out. Fix it. If you don't want to fix it, then move on with your life and forget about him. That's what I say. Those are the only options right there. Those are the only options. Yeah, right there, right there. Those are the only options. All right, let me see what else you guys are saying. Trevor said that the general of the army told Trump that he's going to defend the people and not use the army on the citizens. Yeah, this is great. And this is what I was hoping. There's going to be judges, there's going to be military, there's going to be police, there's going to be leaders in different places that are standing up. The mayor of Chicago did a really good job. This governor of Illinois, very good job holding off Trump's wanting to invade Chicago with the National Guard. They did not successfully do it. And the press is not talking about this. The mainstream media will not show the failures of Donald Trump right now because they're scared of him. But yeah, they failed to do what they wanted to do with Chicago. The Chicago city held them off and they did not come in there. So now they're threatening New Orleans. They're threatening Memphis. And yeah, the general of the army is defying Trump. Good for you. You're a man of conscience and honor. And thank you for that. Thank you for that. Shaq Lindsay saying people need to understand DeMar walks the streets of Compton without security. Kendrick runs Compton. Yeah. Yeah. And DeMar's always been able to do that because he was a chosen one. He was one that they designated saying, look, this guy's going to do what he's going to do. He's going to be a top 25 all-time scorer in the NBA. And he is. And we got to protect him. He can't have this life. And if y'all are trying to drag him into this, or if you're trying to do any kind of tragedy, fuck that. He's untouchable. He's untouchable. He is comp 10. And that's why he wears the number 10. I'm just saying, we got to understand where the roots start from for DeMar. Listen, he loves Toronto. Toronto is home for him too, but Compton is where he came from. We got to understand that. And that doesn't mean that he doesn't love Toronto and he doesn't love Drake. It just means that he knows where he comes from. And that matters right there. Trevor's saying all snakes crawl on the ground, but there are some snakes that walk upright and speak English. Yeah, that's making me think of the Garden of Eden right there. The Garden of Eden. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay saying artists or stars can't go to certain places without getting the okay from certain people. E40 is another example. E40 in San Francisco. Yeah. I mean, I don't like all the gangbanger stuff mixed up in the hip hop gang and all this kind of stuff, territorial shit and stuff like that. You know, listen, DeMar should always be able to go to his hometown, especially if he wants to get that chicken from that restaurant. That's right. He should always be able to go there. That's right. Kaloy saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Good morning to you, Kaloy. Good morning to Santino. Happy Monday morning. And Sergeant Wayne Strainer's here. I hope Wayne had a great birthday yesterday. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Raptors basketball, Raptors basketball, Raptors basketball. Yeah, baby. There you go. There you go. Pedo or Petty DeMar has to support his family. Pedo or Petty DeMar has to support his family because. I mean, I don't even know what DeMar's doing. Listen, in some ways, look, DeMar's private life with his women and his kids is none of my business. In some ways, DeMar's demons are none of my business, but he's brought them to us publicly so we could hear them. And he's better for that. I mean, in some ways, look, I can tell you how great DeMar DeRozan is as a Raptor and a basketball player, but just as a human being, for being vulnerable and open about his sensitivities and his demons and his depression, he's a beautiful person for that. In some ways, you know, he is somebody I would nominate for a Nobel Peace Prize because he's shown a space for a Black man to show his feelings and be authentically real about their sensitivity and who they are. And that is a humanitarian thing right there, guys. I'm serious. And I can't poo-poo that. In some ways, he's caring and sensitive enough. In some ways, maybe he wasn't sensitive enough to Drake in this situation. But fuck Drake. Who cares? The man's got all the money in the world and everything in his life. He's so butthurt about this with DeMar. Sticks and stones, motherfucker. Sticks and stones. Seriously, get over yourself. And you know what? Everybody forgot about this. But you're going to come and give us a refresher by making a new song? Well, you brought it back up, and now everybody's going to talk about you're a pedophile again. So it's your own damn fault, Aubrey. Seriously, this was dead and gone last year. But now you brought it up and renewed it? Well, this is your own damn fault. Seriously, this is your own damn fault. Seriously. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, I can see other leagues that I participated in, but yours say I don't have permission anymore. ESPN login takes you directly to Disney's login page. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, Cool Cat. Well, at least the season's over. And you don't have to manage your team anymore. I have no idea why that's happening to you. But we'll do the NBA League in Yahoo. So the Yahoo League will be the NBA League will be run on Yahoo. It won't be on ESPN. So we won't have to worry about getting in on that one for ESPN. I will not use ESPN for NBA. I don't like using ESPN at all. I only use ESPN because it's the only one that does NBA fantasy. That's the only reason why we're on ESPN. I wouldn't use it otherwise. Cream saying the Rock's daughter said it perfectly. If you don't want people to talk bad about you when you're dead, then don't talk bad about people when you're alive. Yeah. Yeah. And that applies to Charlie Kirk. And that's who she's talking about right there. Right there. Smooth saying, and he's using that tariff money to line his pockets. Yeah. And line his rooms with gold and his toilet and stuff like that. He's basically robbing people directly to him. I mean, that's the way of the right-wing politicians at this point. Get rich and screw everybody else with your projects and your bullshit. The Therme Spa, Doug Ford, and all your bullshit. Yeah, and Trump's the same way. It's the same way. His GD, like they're bragging about how he's a billionaire now. The motherfucker wasn't a billionaire a couple of years ago. He's robbing people to get to this point, to get back to this point. He loses money more than he makes money, but he's stealing the money at this point. At this point. That's right. Building ballrooms and gold painted furniture that nobody asked for. You know what they'll do when he's fucking done and gone? They'll take all the gold he put in that place and they're going to take it down and they're going to melt it and they're going to put it somewhere and they're going to say, this is how much money we put back into the economy from taking this shit down that fucking Trump wasted money putting gold up here. And look, we're going to give this back and kids can eat lunch. We're going to make sure that this whole entire country kids can eat lunch for a month because we took all the damn gold down that he fucking put up right there. Maybe they could even eat for the whole year. Who knows? Seriously. Wayne saying, Lexicon, all I know is being called a pedophile destroys one character and most times of your life. Aubrey is petty, but I understand. Well, this is what I want to say. If the allegations are superfluous and stupid, they should bounce off your back like water on a duck. If they are something that hurts or hits hard, you cover it up and you hide it and you hide a list and you go all to great lengths to kind of cover it up. Drake, man, thou dost protest too much. And that could make you seem guilty. In some ways, if you didn't do it, you should be like, this is silly. This is crazy. I'm not going to get all bent out of shape. But him bowing up because of it, well, that makes it seem like it's more true. That's part of it right there. Does that make sense? He doesn't help anything by reminding everybody over and over again the storyline between him and Kendrick Lamar. It's just going to bring this shit back out here. Why do you think Trump's distracting everybody so much about Epstein's Island? You know, if Drake was smart, maybe he'd distract things away from the controversy with him and Kendrick Lamar instead of bringing it back up fresh again. Seriously, let's think about this. Critical thinking, critical thinking, critical thinking. That's right. Smooth saying free speech is only free if you're on the right. Nah, it's not. That's not normalizing this shit. Free speech is free speech. And in some ways, we got to do what we got to do to make sure that we keep it. But it is dangerous right now. In fact, I'm having a lot of second guessing on whether I should do my channel open filter like I have been doing. In some ways, I don't want to censor myself, but in some ways, I might have to actually think about my safety to a degree just because of this bullshit and the way things are turning. You know that you're not living in a free society when you're worried about what you can and can't say. Let's just put it that way. Trevor's saying Canada dropped the biggest bombshell in the U.S. The road in Canada to enter Alaska, the government of Canada charging all imports to use that route to enter Alaska. Good. That sounds about right. Blackhawks here. Good to see Neil. Look at all the Raptors logos. And Reggie's saying now there's a call for anyone who is critical of Charlie Kirk to lose their job. And some people are doing that. You know, somebody in Canada at the University of Vancouver or British Columbia said something about Charlie Kirk. Good, he's dead, and they lost their job. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you know, in some ways, this whole world is going to get thrown into chaos. And there's going to be a lot of injustice. There's going to be a lot of suffering. There's going to be a lot of unnecessary deaths and pain. And there's going to be a lot of unnecessary incarceration and freedom taken away from people. And in some ways, that shit sucks. And that's why we need to fight the power. That's why we need to continue to do what people are doing on the streets, fighting off ICE and taking to the streets and protesting no more kings. That's right. No more kings. That's what it is right there. Lex, they're keeping a database of names. I know. And this is the thing. They have something called Palantir, which is being used by Israel right now to use against the Palestinians. And there's all kinds of like AI technology where you can find faces in crowds if you're protesting. They're going through social media and they're seeing whoever is saying this. It's very 1984 and it's messed up. And if America is actually America, it's not doing this shit. This is not America anymore. This is not America. Childish Gambino may have said, yeah, this is America. Yeah, his song is really ugly truth. But in some ways, the ideals of what America is supposed to be from the founding fathers, this is not it. This is not it. Surveillance state is not it. It is not it. That's right. Blackhawk saying, let them take my job so I can sue for wrongful dismissal. Charlie, burp. Well, there is a lot of lawsuits going on against the Trump administration by people that have been fired by them this year. And there's a lot of gain with that going with the traction and stuff like that. Wrongfully dismissed. A lot of judges are fighting against Trump and his decisions and saying that these people were wrongfully dismissed. It's wrong for him to withhold foreign aid funds that were already appropriated by Congress, because Congress is in charge of delineating the spending, not Donald Trump. And Donald Trump taking away all the foreign aid, the U.S. aid, when it was already promised and already decided, is unconstitutional and is absolutely an abuse of power. And in some ways, people are going to call him on this. Hopefully, there's so much shit that he done. If they can get the guy down in Brazil this week, hopefully they will get Trump at some point. And the list of crimes is just so lengthy, man. So lengthy. He's more likely to die before he faces the music, though. He's more likely to die. But this is the thing. If he dies and they actually can go full throttle and like telling the story about MAGA and Trump America, and they really come clean with like, this is January 6th. This is this, this is this, this is this. Epstein's files. Yes, he was on the list. He was one of the main customers. And they get all that out. Hopefully we can decontaminate society in the United States of MAGA and its bullshit. Seriously. There are some things that they've done that are going to be tough to rebuild. But for the most part, hopefully people will be ready to come back after this nightmare is over and come back and do the jobs they were doing before that were helpful to society. Seriously. Yeah, it's crazy. Trevor's saying citizens of Chicago police helped their citizens of Chicago get rid of ICE. Yeah. Yeah, the city came together. It's a blue city. The Chicago police were on the side of the city and the people, rightfully so. And if any good police department out there is not turning in totalitarian bullshit like the MAGA, they are still serving the people and they understand the role of their job in society. And they're not being there to be a force of terror against its own citizens. That's what they're doing right there. All right, I got the end of the chat. Let me check on my tabs real quick. We are right at we're 2 hours and 6 minutes right now. Let's see what else I got in the tabs. Guys, today I'm talking about, for the straight goods on Canadian goods, Dare cookies, and specifically those maple cookies, man. I love those maple cookies that Dare makes. The ones that are shaped like a maple leaf? They say Dare. Well, Dare's a fantastic Canadian family business. They've been around for 132 years, y'all. And they've been making cookies and all kinds of treats for a long, 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 long time. Now, they do have some plants down in the United States that make some of their cookies, but most of their plants are here in Canada, Richmond, BC, Kitchener, Milton, Cambridge. Yeah, and the one in Quebec. So yeah, it's a good Canadian company, Dare, and they're Canadian cookies. And I love those maple cookies. I got a box recently and I'm eating them. So you got straight goods on Canadian goods. Dare cookies are a good choice right there. All right, we did the reactions and stuff like that. We're saying happy birthday to Dennis Schroder today because it is his birthday and he is an MVP of the Eurobasket 2025. We'll also say a happy birthday to former Raptors assistant coach and former Showtime Laker Mark Ivaroni. Mark Ivaroni, it's his birthday today also, and he is he's 69 today, I believe. He's 69. All right, so there's the birthdays. All right, let me do we'll do the classic card. Let's do the classic card now and get this done, and we'll be out of here very shortly, guys. Yeah. You know what? You got to have hope and faith in the world. It can seem dark and dismal, but always hope and faith and ingenuity will get us through, guys. And in the moment, you will learn what to do in the moment. I've done this card before. I'm not doing it again. I've done that card. I remember it. And when we did it, am I just grabbing cards from a place where they are ones we've already done? Because it seems like it. That's too easy. That is way too easy. And we've done that card too. So maybe I am. You know what? I'm going to grab the other box because I feel like this box has too many duplicates. There's 2 boxes here. I got the other one. All right, let's see. This one. Yeah, I might grab from this box from now on. Oh, yeah, here we go. We'll go here. This is easy, though. It's not very classic either. So, all right, let's see. Yeah, guys. All right, classic card of the day. First, person to write the full name answer gets the Raptor Freak trivia points. Easy, easy does it. Come on now, write it in immediately. You know it. You got to be live though. If you're not live, then you know what? You're not going to get it. It's very easy though. Come on, y'all. You know who that is. Tristan Thompson. That's hilarious. That's funny, Isaac. You know, somebody's going to seagull you, my guy. You got one of the names right. That's for sure. One of the names, but you didn't get it all right. Klay Thompson. That's right. Why do you say Tristan Thompson? Did you just forget? Are you trying to be funny? Tristan Thompson. Okay. It's Klay. It's Klay Thompson, of course, formerly of the Golden State Warriors, now on the Dallas Mavericks. So, yeah, 50 points for Kaloy on that one. Carlo JS is going to get the 50 points on the classic card today for Klay Thompson, which is, yeah, very recent card there. All right, where's Kaloy? Carlo JS. There we go. 50 points for you, sir, on the classic card of the day. There you go. That's right. Trevor's saying this morning on the news, they show you all the imports that Canada rejected from the U.S. containers of food stuff. Yeah. I mean, we got to do this. I saw a report that Canada is buying more cars from Mexico than the United States now. And this is the first time that's ever happened. That we are buying more cars, importing more cars from the country of Mexico than from the United States at this point. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. You know, one of the things that happened also is Crown Royal shut down their plant here in Canada. It's awful. It's just on the other side of the border from Detroit in Windsor. There's a Crown Royal facility, and it's been shut down by the Americans. So it's like, you know, this thing is so stupid, man. None of this had to happen. And I'm sure that most of the people in industry that sell things that have to do with Canada and the US are so pissed off at Donald Trump right now. Part of his unpopularity is that he's been so bad for business, and he's hurting people's bottom lines and their lives, whether it's farmers, whether it's manufacturers, whether it's plant workers, just everybody's hurting. And the only people that are gaining from it are people like him that are fucking in their little bubble, and they're just robbing everybody. They're robber barons. It's a new Gilded Age. Robert Reich has very much talked about this. This shit happened 100 years ago. There's certain people like Carnegie and Rockefeller and different people like that got a little too big for the britches and subjugating society. And society corrected things. And then we had the New Deal and FDR. And there was a much more benevolent society. And the fantastic things of the 50s and the by baby boomers generation was all set up by left-leaning politics to allow that society to happen, the Great Society. And well, we need a redo. We need another version of it now in the tech world, in this new world. But it's going to be tough because there's a lot of souped up toys that the fucking fascists and dictatorial kind of people are going to try and use. So we got to take them out. And we've got to find a very proper balance with, you know, technology and what its powers are to be safe for freedom and humanity and the allowance for people to have their lives. So, yeah, there's a lot going on right now. It's crazy, man. It is crazy. Klay Thompson. Yeah, a little behind. Cool Cat, sorry. Kareem Thomas saying the Rock's daughter said it perfectly. If you don't want people to talk bad about you when you're dead, then don't talk bad about people when you're alive. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you said that earlier. I read that. Yeah. And I would say that applies to Charlie Kirk. That applies to Charlie Kirk right there. Trevor's saying Canada and Mexico create a new bypass. Instead of entering the U.S. with the goods, they're going to bypass the U.S. Yep. There's a lot of this. European partners are doing more business with us directly, and the U.S. is not getting imported through. You know, Canada may have been nice and been like, yeah, okay, you'll import it to the U.S. and we'll get our shares through the U.S. border coming up here. And we may have to pay a little bit with the U.S., but the U.S. is involved as a middleman. Well, fuck that. You're going to send your container ship from Asia and Europe directly to us now. And we're cutting out the U.S. and their little share and their part of the whole thing. And if there was container ships that were coming for both our countries and some of it was shipping up across the border from the U.S. up, nah, just send it directly to us in BC and on the Maritimes, and we'll get it there instead. We don't need you to deliver it to Seattle. We don't need you to deliver it to New York City. No, we'll take our goods directly from other countries. The U.S. does not have to be involved. That's how it's going right now. And, there's a lot of lies out there. The American economy is plummeting and tanking and doing really bad. Trevor's saying he's seen bare shelves, but on the news, they can't say that because it's a state news like North Korea at this point. The news will lie just because Donald Trump wants them to. And if they don't, they will be punished. And that's the thing. Up here, they're not talking about how successful the tariffs are for us. That the Canadian economy is doing really good, honestly. We've increased jobs and our GDP and a lot of things have gone up. But there's a lot of misinformation out there that's trying to say that Canada's economy is plummeting. It's not true. In fact, I was so aghast at how my family members last Sunday were so misinformed about how Canada is doing right now. Canada is absolutely doing badass. We are finding new sectors of industry. We're increasing our job sector with more employment, and the GDP and things are going up. But they don't want you to know that because the Americans control the mass media on this continent. And any kind of news coming out saying that the Trump's hurting America, but Canada's thriving is not a welcome in the media right now. Be aware of this because Canada is thriving right now and they don't want to toot that horn or say anything about it. What Mark Carney is doing right now is working. And the opening up of different things, even that press conference he had yesterday about getting projects going faster, well, that stuff is going to help in some ways. I'm worried about the environmental degradation that's not getting watched out for, but otherwise it will help. And there are more jobs. Some people are saying there's no jobs in downtown Toronto. That may be true, but that's partly because the jobs in downtown Toronto are shitty and a lot of other stuff. So let's see. Trevor's saying it's one area here with housing in Fort Lauderdale under the construction come to a halt because nobody is wanting to work. Yeah. Like that's the thing. You don't stimulate economy by tariffs. You don't stimulate the economy by that. You stimulate a grift directly to your pocket. Is what he's doing. Like, where is that tariff money going? You guys got to ask that down in the States. Where's all the billions of dollars he's getting in the tariffs? Well, is it going to society? No, it's probably going to him and his friends in the back door into their bank accounts. So it's a really crazy ass grift. The way he is grifting from the whole entire United States by passing the buck through taxes from crazy ass tariff system where they are taking the direct tariff funds. And who knows where the fuck that money's going? You think that money's funding social services or anything good for society? No, it might be funding Republican think tanks. It might be funding more police and more ICE. It might be funding more prisons. That's not what people want their money spent on. They want their money spent on schools, education, roads, fire department. They want services for their tax money. They don't want to give fat cats more money in their bank accounts so they can get a seventh mansion and a fifth yacht. What is this? This is crazy shit going on down in the United States. The inequality is out of control. Out of control. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you for watching the Raptor Freak Monday Moment. We were talking about Dennis Schroder on his birthday. He's the MVP of Eurobasket 2025, a former Raptor for half a year. I appreciate you, Dennis, for being an authentic person who speaks his truth. And I appreciate you for that. That's right. Most want me to go rest. I agree. I'm going to do that. And then I got some chores I got to do for the day. I appreciate you too, Isaac Campbell. Tomorrow, Tuesday trivia. I'll write up the questions this afternoon. I don't know the subject at all right now. So we'll have a new trivia for you guys tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. I'll be back. Let's go, Raptors. And seriously, Drake, call DeMar and clear this shit up, man. Seriously, you're causing this to continue. Only you. Nobody else. You're causing this to continue. If you got an issue with DeMar, call him. Talk to him. And clear that shit up. That's what I got to say right there. W. Dennis Schroder, not Uncle Dennis.